Stream is starting. The Captain Coder at the helm. Bean water is ready. Today we will learn a lot. He loves the questions, he loves to sing. Join our Discord and follow him.
Corpless! I wasn't sure if anyone was even watching. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you happen to be in the world. Captain Coder here on this beautiful day. I hope you're having a beautiful day out there in the world, wherever you happen to be. It's a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Corpless, welcome in. Ryan, it's always a pleasure to see you. Kavadratisk, what's this? How's Captain Coder even awake at this hour? It doesn't Captain Coder wake up at early. Early, that's the word I'm looking for. It's great to see all of you beautiful people here on this beautiful day. Corpless, Ryan, Kavadratisk, welcome to the stream. We're out here, we're promoting Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam. Our goal here is to make sure my goal is to stream at a variety of different times all this month, streaming new stuff, learning new things, learning how to do different game dev stuff. We're working on our little space prototype, our space shooter prototype tonight, continuing our adventure. That's right, Mendoza. Welcome back to the stream. It's wonderful to have you here. We are here. We are promoting Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam, making sure we get the word out. Anyone who doesn't know about Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam, it's time to learn about it, because Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam is a game jam not about making the best possible game, but learning as much as possible. And in fact, you get rewarded. You win by learning. If you learn something, you've won. That's the whole point. And to help share how you learned it, what you learned with the community, you're going to send, you have an option. It's optional. You don't have to. You can just participate for the fun of making a game. But if you learn something and you share what you learned, the resources you used to learn it with the community, you are entered to win one of $50. There are 5 $50 drawings for anyone who learns something and shares what they learned with the community. You're entered to win just for sharing it. Just for sharing it. That's right, Code Monk. You can still make the best possible game, but you don't win by making the best game. Your game could not even run. It's technically possible. You could just submit a game that doesn't even work. It's just a big honking pile that fell apart. But if you learn something and you share what you learned with the community, you could still win. You could still win $750 in prizes. It's exciting times, folks. I hope you're as excited as I am. Let's submit it so much we crash itch. Let's do it. Let's do it. So, folks, be sure to spread the word. Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam coming up on June 19th. Be there, or be a square, or be a shape that's not a circle. Be a shape that has sharp corners on it. Maybe you'll be a rectangle. Who knows? Whatever shape you want to be, you can be whatever shape you happen to want to be in. That's the shape you're allowed to do. So what have we been working on here? We've been building out. Let me show you what we have so far. So we've been learning about Unity's visual scripting. We're scaled weird. Oh, it's because I have that. Unity's visual scripting. So we've been putting together this little space shooter game. So we got the background stars in there. We can shoot lasers. I want to make it so I can't come down to this part of the screen. I'm always flying in front of it. We can shoot lasers. We can destroy asteroids. They can hit us. We take damage. If we take enough damage, our ship starts taking damage. We can see the damage on the ship. And if we take even more, we have the damage immunity there for a couple seconds. I think it's 2.5 seconds, something like that. If we take enough damage, though, if we take enough, boosh, we're toast. We're toast. Don't take too much damage. You don't want to be toast. You don't want to be toast. Immediately think about what to do. You think about visual scripting with Unity versus immediately thinking about what do you think about visual scripting with Unity code? You mean Unity code, or compared to like text-based coding? I think there's a lot of benefits. I personally feel like it slows me down because I feel like I already know what I want to do. There's a couple things that are really cool about it. There are a couple things that I think are really awesome about it. Check this out. So I got my game running down here. Here's the thing that I feel like is blowing my mind every time you use it. I'm going to use it with my students. Let's watch this script graph here. I'm going to pull my game window out. Here is my game window. Here is my script that controls my player movement. Okay. We can watch this script happen live. We watch the data flow through it. We watch the flow control flow through it. We can look at, this is the thing that I think is super cool. The next big indie game already. Yeah. We can see how the data is transformed. So these are my X and Y axis inputs. As I press keys, we watch those values change. We watch how these different functions combine them together. So this creates a vector, and you can see the data shape changing. And then you can multiply by 10. We watch that data scale up here. I have found it really cool. I personally find myself, I see a lot of value in using this to learn the Unity engine for people who haven't learned to code yet. I think if you have had a basic programming course, you're probably better off just jumping right into code. But how do we bridge the gap? In my mind, how do we bridge if you know a little bit of object-oriented programming, I think you're fine hopping right into the code. If you're not familiar with object-oriented programming to start out, it can be super overwhelming. So I think there's an opportunity to bridge the gap for people who are scared of coding or haven't done any coding at all yet, from scripting visually like this to writing code. I also think for small things like this, it's really nice to be able to look at the flow. So I am actually planning to write a course. I'm planning to write a course in which we learn Unity. We start off learning visual scripting, and then we transition to text-based coding. I want to see if we can do it in a way where we can get that learning process down. What are the things? Is it going to be, and then so we got to say, okay, is that better or worse than learning it just all at once? That's sort of the question I want to know. Which one is better? Maybe it's better for some people, worse for other. Who knows? It's all about what is going to work for each individual, but I'm planning to explore this a little bit more. So I've had a lot of fun with it. We're going to finish this this prototype, and then I'm going to move on to a new topic this month, or not this month, but yeah, another prototype. I think I want to do something either in Godot GDScript or in Unreal Engine. I'm not sure, or maybe I'll do Blender. I'm kind of saving Blender for my Learn New Game Jam entry. Personally, I think I'm going to save mine for that. Learn how to do 3D, a little bit of 3D art, because I haven't done it. I want to learn how to do rigging a little bit as well. Captain Engine version 0.1 on the C64 with visual scripting win. We got, that's a brilliant. So Kavadra says, got to ask you, do we have a visual scripter that compiles to C64, or does it have to run on the C64? Because the first one I feel like I could do. The second one sounds both. The second one sounds way harder. Yeah. Second one sounds way harder, but we'll see. We'll have to find out what we do. But it's thank you for your questions. Good questions here. Let me clear this off of our queue real quick. All right, Corfless, thank you for your question. Wonderful stuff. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with the visual scripting. Let me keep my game window up over here. On June 19th, I might already go back to my home country for vacation. Very nice, very nice. There's no max. I wish there was a little bit. Warn up, no comment rendering. Clear every frame in edit mode. Okay. All right. Can I have multiple game tabs open? I'm wondering. Can I open? I know I can get like a second project tab. Add tab game. It won't let me add tab game. If I delete this one, can I add tab game? No. Want to add tab game. Okay, I can do that. I'll do add tab game. All right, I can have two game tabs. That's what I wanted to know. Because now I can have this game over here somewhere on another screen, and then you guys can still see it. I can have a tiny version of it here that you guys can see. Okay, that's essentially what I want to be able to do, is be able to have a little game preview open for you while I'm also playing the game over in another window. So what I want to try and do next, what I would like to try and do next, is make it so we can see the amount of damage the ship has sustained, or necessarily how much damage is left, how much hit points you essentially have left before you're going to explode. Right now, my plan is to use this image here. So we're going to call this outside. The idea is to have this value, as you take damage, it's going to go down like that. So this is going to scale based on the percentage of health of damage you've taken, like that. And if you reach 0, boom, you're destroyed. Godot would be nice to see. Godot 4.3 Beta 1 is also out fixing a lot of quirks with web builds. Gotcha. It's a pity that there's not C# web builds yet. I agree, there's a little bit of a pity there. Had a lot of fun doing Godot and C#. I'm super excited. I can't tell you how excited I am to see. I have a feeling that they're not going to be able to add C# after .NET 9 comes out, just because WebAssembly is not getting multi-threads. WebAssembly is not getting multi-threads in November. We thought we might be getting them, but I have a feeling we're not going to. That said, maybe the AOT stuff, it doesn't matter. We're going to find out, though. We're going to find out. Okay. I hope we can get them. Yeah, we'll find out. We're going to find out. I could be completely wrong there, but I discovered when I was doing it, yeah, the news about the new stream buffer or something. That's right. So from what I understand, from what I learned when I was playing with the physics system in Godot last week, is Godot's physics system is multi-threaded, which was really cool to discover, which I think is totally awesome. But I think it does throw a little bit of correction. I had a lot of hope for C# Godot by the end of the year. We'll see. CodeMonk, we'll see. I'm not giving up hope yet. I think it might not be till January that we see it, but I think it is a high priority for them. I think it is a high priority for the people working on it. Okay, let's add in a script here. So I'm not sure how to do this. So this is going to be life bar, and then this one is damage bar. So the idea is that this number, this scale here, needs to go down as we take damage. And so I need to, there's a couple ways I could do this. I'm wondering if it should be on the bar. I think I want to add it into, let's go look at our scripts. Let's go look at our scripts here. I think I want to add it to my player. My player's collision handler. All right, so my player has a collision handler. I kind of want to make an event. Kind of want to make an event here. I'm wondering if I can do this. This is so hard to see. This is one major downside of the visual scripting, is just how much space it takes up on the screen. No worries, Corpless. Thank you so much for popping in. Have a beautiful day. Keep coding, keep growing, keep being amazing. I'll see you next time, my friend. We'll be back tomorrow. And I hope to see you then. If not, no worries. Do your best to do what's best. Not do your best to make it here. I was going to say, do what you got to do your best for you. Okay, so we take damage here. Okay, so I want to... Maybe I can make this take damage output how much damage was done, and we can send that value to a take damage event. And I'm wondering if I can add... So how I would do this, one way I potentially would do this is on my player... Oh, why? How do I can't add an event on my player, actually? I don't have access to a script. I want to add like a Unity event. I don't think there's a Unity event. Yeah, I was thinking I could add one there. I need to make one. I want to make it without writing code. That's my whole goal here, is no code writing, only visual scripting. Solomon, it's great to see you on this beautiful Tuesday. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Welcome in, welcome aboard. Welcome to the Academy. Yeah, this might be harder than I thought. I want, or maybe I just don't know how to do it. Visual scripting, custom events. Rain, welcome in. We're out here promoting Captain Coders Learn You a Game Jam. Be sure to check it out later this month. Captain Coders Learn You a Game Jam starting on June 19th. It's 2 whole weeks of learning and coding and growing. Low key. You don't have to exert. It's not about submitting the best possible game. It's about learning as much as possible. Even if you learn just a little bit, I don't want to stress people out, so I tried to make it 2 weeks so people could relax, take their time, work on something small over the course of 2 weeks. So Captain Killers Learning Game Jam coming up. I hope you'll consider joining. Yeah, spread that time out a little bit, right? Spread. Oh, and thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for spreading the word. But yeah, we're working on we're learning something new every day here. We're learning about visual scripting today. And I would like to, and I'm not sure if I can do this, I want to be able to send, I should have they reset once the application quits. I would like to have, kind of want to have a shared event. So I know I could get this to work by having it just watch. I know I could get it to work by just, oh, that's interesting because this is a different size. That's interesting. That's interesting. Sorry, I got distracted. I have this separate game window here, and it causes this game window. Look at that. The scaling changes based on which game window I have selected. That's really curious. I'm gonna go ahead and close that one then. I am trying to add in an event to talk to this bar from my player. My player is going to be changing their health. So my player has a damage variable on them. My player has a damage variable here. And as they take damage, I want to update this bar. I need to send that data to the bar. I'm trying to avoid putting everything into one giant object here. So right now, and I'm kind of failing. You'll notice my object has a lot of variables on it. So I'm trying to find a way to send this information between these between objects. So I would really like for this damage bar to have the script. We're all standing on the shoulders of giant objects. I agree. It's true. Our games are propped up on giant objects, right? At the end of the day, that's what we end up doing. That's hilarious. I love that. We're gonna add into this here. I'm gonna see what I can do. We're gonna add a script machine, and this script machine, I want to be able to send events between two things. No worries, CodeMug. Thank you so much for hanging out. We'll catch you next time. We'll see you soon. Enjoy your rest. Get some rest. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for hanging out. We have a graph I want to create. Can we embed? That is interesting. We can just do an embedded graph here. Me, probably, I think I prefer, so would I rather program, when you say GUI or CLI, do you mean visual scripting or text-based? Or do you mean programming from the terminal? Do I have like a text-based terminal? Because I used to program an Emacs in the terminal all the time. I did that for years. And same with VI. I did VI in the terminal for years and years and years. But I'm not sure if that's what you mean. Or do you mean like doing echoes into files? Because that'd be a whole nother level. I personally prefer writing code, but I see a lot of value in the visual scripting. I see a lot of value in visual scripting. When we take damage, I need to notify. So I have take damage. I'm wondering, I want to register. I want to register. Do we have Unity events? Unity event. I'm wondering if we can do something with this. You can just open the source code and inject arbitrary code into the files with visual scripting. Well, I'm purposely forcing myself to learn the visual scripting. You're saying I can open up one of these scripts like in Visual Studio Code? Let's try it. What does this look like? It's like a YAML file. It's definitely just a YAML file. And then it's a JSON of the graph. So the graph is defined as like a JSON. So this would be gnarly to try and edit, I think. I meant code? I don't, yeah, I could just write code. My whole goal here, I'm trying to learn how to do it without writing code. So it's like a challenge I've given myself, because with the code, it would be no problem for me. I've given myself the challenge of writing this without code. Yeah, so I want to learn, well, how would I do it using visual scripting? That's what I'm trying to do. 2 a.m., that's crazy. Yeah, get some sleep, Ren. Thank you so much for popping in. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you next time. We'll see you next time. Okay. But yeah, I want to... See, I'm not quite sure. What even is this? Destroy out of bounds. Okay, so like this type of thing is a nice little script you can write. This is a nice little script you can write. They do start getting a little bit... See, this one's even a nice little script. What does this do? Laser controller. Yeah, this one's super nice. Look how easy some of these scripts are. I don't even use these. Yeah, let's get rid of that. They can start getting complex. So, like this one, 8 a.m. there, very nice. It's 5 p.m. for me here. So, for example, this script, I definitely think I would prefer to write this as a Unity, like C#. Proton, welcome back to the stream. Thank you so much for the doi. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Yeah, so this is code that is I'm using for my player weapon, essentially. What is this one doing? What script is this? Oh, it's the obstacle controller. So this is like our, yeah. If we get hit by a laser, we get destroyed. So yeah, that's sort of like what we're doing here. So there's quite a bit. It's not too bad. It definitely feels, and I've actually pulled this into another thing. We could probably do something better with that. Proton, I hope you've been well, my friend. Thank you so much for popping in. Thank you for being here. I want to know how to send data between these. So I'm wondering if, let me try something. Let's go to my player. Can I add, curious, on hits? Can we do a Unity event? It doesn't let me do a Unity event here. I was hoping I could add a Unity event here. I can't. Event? Can I put an event here? Base event data. I want to be able to trigger this to go notify something else. I'm not sure if I can. I want to send a notification without writing code, that is. I know how I could do it easily writing some code. And there might be an easy way to do it using a custom event node, but I'm not sure how. So one thing I have found difficult about doing visual scripting with Unity is there's a little bit of a lack, or not a little bit. I find there's a lack of, not documentation, but a lack of examples of doing complex things. All the examples are very, very simple examples. And I want to be able to add in maybe a little bit more complex. I want to send data over this. So let me show you the way I could do it. On my player, I could add a variable here. I could add a variable. I could also add a scene variable, I suppose. Maybe that's the way to do it. I could add a variable to this object and update it that way. So if I go into, yeah, I think I need a, let's open up a separate add tab. Let's get another inspector, and I'm going to pull that out over here onto my other screen so I can see it. All right, so I want to, and then let's get one more for our hierarchy. Okay. And so I'm going to go find my player, and then on their collision script. All right, so this is the script that handles taking damage. We end up taking damage here. And then after we've taken damage, I need to update this bar. This bar needs to get updated. And so I kind of want to say, you know, do this. We need to update the bar and then check this if thing here. So one thing that's a little bit annoying about restructuring this code, these things, is now I have to, so one thing I find challenging is I need to move all of this stuff over and reconnect. And I'm not sure, maybe they have like an auto organize button or something. I don't know. But we're gonna try to select everything here. This is where I think groups might come in handy. And I just haven't been doing visual scripting long enough to know the best way to do this. This might need to be a subgraph. So right click, create subgraph. That's the type of thing that could be really nice to have as well. Moving this into a subgraph to make it a little bit easier. Same with when you're writing code. Sometimes you write a function and move it into a function. But I need to update this bar here. And so I'm gonna add in another node. And maybe even just, you know, maybe I do add this in over here. I'm gonna call this, I'm actually gonna make this called check. So we take damage. Hang on, let me think about this. Because this is a subgraph, the actual taking damage. This is checking if we should take damage. And then if we should, we do this. This might be just that. Yeah, this like is animating the flicker. So let me make this part a subgraph. Let's create a subgraph here. We're gonna move all of this into our subgraph. That's probably what we should do. So I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna put it in here. Move my input here, my output there. And then make this have a invoke. Oh no, this is just a the wrong thing selected. Invoke. Why can't I add a label? That's interesting. What's going on with this? Invoke. Control input definition with incomplete configuration is currently ignored. Why can't I add? There we go. I don't know why it wouldn't let me do that. We're going to invoke here. Invoke is just going to do this. And then when we're done, we come out. So output here is finish. Why? Done. On finished. Oh, I have to press enter. I was clicking away. Okay, so when we're done here, we do this. Okay. So I can replace that whole section there with this subgraph. Let me give a title here. Set animate invulnerability. That's what this is doing. Okay. So now we'll have this. It says, if we're not destroyed, animate invulnerability. Okay, and then this will be another subgraph. We're gonna make another subgraph here. And this subgraph is show explosion. Show explosion. Again, let's add in an invoke here. This one has no output. We're not going to do anything afterwards. Ridge Raider, I know. I'm late to class. It is a little bit late. That's because we're out here. We're spreading the word. We're telling people all about Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam, which is coming up on June 19th. I hope you will join. I hope you will consider joining if you can. 2 weeks of fun. 2 weeks of fun and learning. And in the spirit of learning, I am learning about Unity's visual scripting tool. I've never used it. We started using it yesterday, and I'm enjoying it. It's quite good. It has a lot of merit to it. So our input here. Okay. And so I'm learning how to use it to make things like this. This is our take damage when our player gets hit by something. This is the script that tells us how to deal with that. So this is the little game we're putting together here. That was interesting. We're making a little space shmup here. So we got our player floating around. We're gonna add in damage here. We haven't added it in it, but I get bumped in there. I take some damage here. If I take enough damage, I have invulnerability cycles. If I take enough damage, this one should do it. Boom, we have that effect show up there. And so the code, the script that's doing that is this script here. This is the script that's doing it. It is asking us when we have a trigger collider happen, we check if the thing we're hitting has attack damage. We take the damage. Then we check, we check if the amount of damage should destroy us. If so, we show an explosion. Otherwise, we animate our invulnerability. So I was just simplifying this graph, making it a little bit easier to manage and look at here. And the next thing I want to do is actually update this bar. So we want to update our bar here. So I'm going to add in a little bit of code here. So I'm going to add in a subgraph. So I'm going to move these things over. Let me even group this together. So this group here is animate or invulnerability or explosion. So it sort of does those two things. I'm going to disconnect that. And I'm going to add in a chunk here that is going to tell us, the idea is to update this health bar. I'm going to update health bar. So I'm going to create a node. I'm going to make this a subgraph. Okay. And I'm going to go and open. Oh, I can open in a new window. That's kind of nice. Put this in here. So it'll take, can I put you in there? It won't let me put it in there. That's okay. So our subgraph here for this one is update. Gonna update health bar or damage bar on UI. Update our damage bar on the UI. So we are going to have an input here. Invoke. So this is when we come in, and then when we're done, we're just on finished. So a lot of these are pretty straightforward. Don't need a label on that. So that adds these here so we can connect them like this. This goes to here. This goes to this check here. Okay. So we update the damage bar on our UI. So we take damage, update our damage bar. Then we check if we should go to invulnerability or explosion. To update our bar, yes, I can make this a scene variable. It should be in the scene. We need access to this health UI bar. So I'm going to create a new variable called damage bar. And it is going to be, what is the type of this? Let's go into our inspector. I go into my scene. Happens to be this thing. damage bar. And it's going to be a rect transform. I need the rect transform, so I'm going to adjust this number as I go to change the amount of damage that we're seeing on the player. So we're going to have a number between 0 and 1. 1 will say we've taken no damage. 0 means we've taken 100 damage. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll come back into our script here. Oh, I've lost my script. This was part of my player script. I don't necessarily like it here, but we're gonna keep putting it here, and then maybe see if there's a way we can communicate between graphs. I don't quite know how to do that yet. Ideally, I'd have a thing whenever the player takes damage, just notify listeners, have some events that fire, and anyone who's listening to that event can do it. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to make these custom events, and maybe we can't do it. That can be a limitation, I'm not sure. But in our scene, we have a damage bar. And so this is going to be a rect transform like this. And this rect transform happens to be our damage bar. And let's go into our subgraph. And what we want to do is we are going to get our player's damage amount. That's this value, whatever this value happens to be. And we are going to use that to update this value, this variable here. We need to do 100 minus this value divided by 100. So we're going to add a node minus or subtract by a scalar. Okay, so we're going to have 100 minus the amount of damage we've taken. We're at 100 and we've taken 25 damage. We should show 75% full. There are different ways I could potentially do this, but this is how I'm going to do it on this one. So we're going to subtract this value. Then we need to divide by 100. Okay, so this value is coming in. We're going to divide by 100. And so this is going to give us a value almost between 0 and 1. It can end up being negative. And then we're going to do a math.clamp on it. We're going to do a math.clamp on it. All right, so we're going to do a clamp. And so we're going to clamp the value that we return here between 0 and 1. So this whole thing is we get the amount of damage that we've had, we subtract 100, divide by 100, and then we do a math.clamp on it. All right, so this is sort of that flow, like so. And then what we need to do is set the variable here. So we're going to do a rect transform dot set scale. Okay. Oh, we're going to have to translate this. That's interesting. We have to translate this to a vector, which should be fine. But essentially, we're going to set the vector of our damage bar, the scale. So this flows through. We have the X value that we want. This needs to go here, actually. We have the X value that we want, and the other two should just be 1. So we need to add in a create vector 3 like this. And so we know our Y and Z should not change, and our X is going to be based off of this. So we can sort of put this in the middle here. All right, so we're going to create a vector. And that vector becomes our value that we want to scale by. And then we can just continue here. It says, do these things and then exit this. So we can think of this as a function. That's sort of how I think of it. Kay, thank you so much for the follow. Kay, I'd like to say thank you for following me today. Thank you, Kay. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Let's test this out. So we're going to update our damage bar UI and see how we did. Let's see how we did here. Go full screen. It's too big. Too big. My screen's too big. All right, let's try it. So, take some damage. Boom! There it goes. Great to have you here, Kay. I hope you're having a beautiful day. All right, so we have our damage bar actually updating now. Very nice. And now if we take any more damage, if we take enough damage, boom, explosion. Not bad. Awesome. I'm having a lot of fun with this. So, Kay, just interested in learning code. Awesome. You're in the right place. Welcome to Captain Coders Academy. I am preparing for Captain Coders Learn You a Game Jam, which is a game jam I'm hosting here this month. I am actually a computer science teacher. I teach computer science and programming at a school for ages 10 to 14. So I work with young people. And in that spirit, I ran this game jam last year. I'm running the game jam again this year, starting on June 19th. The whole purpose of this game jam is to learn something new, whatever that is, and share what you learned with the community. If you do share what you learned with the community, you're automatically entered to win. There's a raffle that will be done if you enter this game jam with a devlog saying what you learned. $50. 5 $50 drawings will be happening here. So I hope you'll consider looking at it, and I hope you'll learn something during it. I am currently learning about Unity's visual scripting language. I do a lot of programming, but this is the first time I've ever used Unity's visual scripting language, and I'm having a blast doing it. It's relatively easy to get started, in my opinion, and I'm planning to turn it into a course. I think this is enough to turn into a course to go from visual scripting to coding in C# doing Unity. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I love questions. And if you want to see any examples or anything like that, don't hesitate to stop me. You won't be interfering or you will be distracting, but that's a good thing. That's why I'm here. All right, so this is our script here for updating so many things. So this does a lot of things. And so I kind of don't like how much it's doing, but the way this script works here is when our player, this is saying hit by a trigger. So if I go into my scene view here, I have a player that shows up. It can be a game, yes, Sigma, Psi Gamma, sorry, not Sigma. It can be in anything you want. We had people make games that were just like HTML choose your adventure web pages last year. Yeah, for the game jam, absolutely. It can be in any language, any engine. It doesn't even have to be an engine. You could make a game that is a board game and submit pictures, submit files for it. Doesn't have to be a digital video game. It could be a tabletop role-playing game. The whole goal is, did you learn something? That's what we're going for with this one. Did you learn something? And if you did, share what you learned with the community. Yeah, go for it. So here I am in my scene, and we have these meteors that spawn. And these meteors have a variable on them called attack damage. So you can kind of think of them as weapons. It's going to be a weapon if it hits the player. Boom, it deals some damage to the player. And the way this script works, wrong script. Go to my player here. The way this script works is it says when something collides with us, we want to check first, are we invulnerable? If we're not invulnerable and the thing hitting us deals damage, then, so if those two things are true, the and here combines those two values together. If they're both true, we take damage, we update our UI bar, and then we decide if we've taken 100 damage, we show an explosion. Otherwise, we animate our invulnerability. And animating the invulnerability is when we get that flash there. So you have some damage frames to avoid getting hit again. So it lets you sort of dodge, dip, dive, duck, and dodge more things. And one thing that's really cool, in my opinion, about the scripting language here is you'll notice, watch this, when I get hit, when something moves in there, we can see all the things light up that are affecting us. We can watch this visual script actually happen and see what the most recent values through it are. Notice it says false here because last time we got hit, we hadn't taken 100 damage yet. But let's keep getting hit a little bit more. You'll see them light up here. The animate invulnerability lights up when I get hit by enough. So we took enough damage. The script actually got destroyed because the player is no longer in the scene. Oh, it's super cool. I love that. I love that. Cool little tool here. Okay. Now that I have this working, what do I want to do next? What do I want to do next? So I have damage coming in here. Could add in sound effects. Could add in enemies. Could add in a second laser. We could add in a title screen. Maybe a game over with a restart. That's what we'll do. Game over with a restart of a game over show up here. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So let's see what that would entail here. I'm kind of curious how to invoke a button from a script as well. That's something that we'll have to look into. I'm not sure how to do that. Let me go ahead and save my scene here. I want to add in, so I have my canvas here. This is where the text will show up on screen. I want to add in a game over. The default font in Unity is pretty bad. So I think I'm going to go find a font to use, but I want to add in some text here. I'm going to use Text Mesh Pro. And I'm just going to make the text say game over. So when we die, it'll say game over. You'll see this text is pretty lame here. But we're going to, ooh, don't zoom in too far. I meant to go into our inspector here. I'm going to make this say game over. I'm going to make the font show up centered and centered. And then I'm going to make this do this thing. So it's centered right in the middle screen. If I make it take up the whole screen, actually make it perfectly centered. But I think we might do some other stuff with it. So I'm not going to perfectly center it yet. This font is kind of lame. So I want to find some better font. And I often like to go to, I have some pre-made fonts that I like that I've downloaded before, but it's good to go to like 1001 fonts. They have a bunch of free fonts you can use. And let's look for something a little bit. For some reason, I'm drawn to pixelated fonts. And there's one that I really like. Let's see if we can find it here. None of these are that. Maybe 1001 fonts doesn't have it. Oh, maybe I'm looking for the, oh, that one's not bad. Here we go. Baseball Club Solid. Oh, does this one cost? Free use for personal use. Okay, we can do it that one. Don't they have a filter here? There was more filters. What system am I using? I happen to be on Windows. I often use Linux and Mac as well. So I teach my students to bring your own device. So we have Windows students, we have Linux students, we have Mac students. I personally prefer Linux, but I have one of all of them. For streaming, I have found that streaming from Windows is the easiest on my system. I have tried streaming from Mac before and my computer overheats. And then on Linux, it's not, I find that the graphics card support on Windows is just superior for the setup that I have. I think that's what you were asking. If you're asking something else, feel free to ask, get a clarification off there. Hang on. I don't like any of these fonts. I think it's called, I thought it was called 7 pixel font. Doing boot camp course for software. Gotcha. What is your background in previously? I think boot camps can be a good way to get started. Here we go. Free for commercial. We're gonna do this one or this one. Ooh, joystick. I kind of like this. What do we think? Which font do we like better? I think I like joystick. Yeah, look at that font. That font's nice. Your background is in software engineering. Oh, interesting. What type of boot camp do you think you'll go to? Oh, you're saying you're going to a software engineering boot camp. Let me unzip this here. So would it be towards web development, you think, or potentially something else? So software engineer can mean a whole lot of things, especially from someone who has had a past in software engineering. So that's why I ask. Let's go ahead and pull this font in, and I'm going to put a link. I'm going to create a file so I don't forget where this came from. Let me go to my assets. I'm going to create a folder called credits. I'm going to create a text file. Is there a text file option here, or do I have to do that from text? Might just have to do that from an external program. Show and explore. Let's do this. Create new text document, credits. And we'll just paste this in. This is joystick font. Perfect. Trying to research and learn more about it. No tech experience, only a ton of call center experience. Gotcha. Yeah, I've been programming for 27. What is it? How old am I? 29 years. Holy moly. I've been programming for almost 30 years. I did a lot of industry work, working for startups, and did a lot of contract work. I broke into it through web development mostly, but I did a lot of work. My first real job was working on a supercomputer, where we were making I don't know if you know what the word compiler means, but making our own compiler for it. Captain, not Captain, Immortal Kid, welcome in. We're still learning about Unity's visual scripting. I don't know if you've been here since we've been working on it, but we're making a prototype space shooter, another shmup here. And I'm learning about Unity's visual scripting tool. So we have this shmup here. We just added in this health bar. Boom, take some damage. Boom, take some damage. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so I'm here. We're about to add in our game over screen. So I'm just looking for a nice font here, but we have it set up so our player can blow up like this. So that's what we're working on now. I want to create a game over screen so we can restart. And then we might add in a title screen as well. Wolfie, yeah, I'm learning about visual scripting in Unity. I've never used it before this project. That's almost true. I touched it for about like 20 minutes once and was like, this is too confusing, but I didn't give it a chance. It was confusing because it felt really hard to do things that as a programmer seems maybe a little bit easier to do. So an example that I'll give, it's native. It's native. And if you go to Window Visual Scripting, it's built right in. There's no add-ons necessary at all, Wolfie. So things like this feel a little bit hard to do. So I have like my damage variable greater than or equal to 100 passed into my if, right? So programming, it would feel a little bit easier. Edom Games, welcome to the crew. Thank you for raiding me today. Edom Games, let me know if I'm saying that right. Edom Games, happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for the raid. How the heck are you doing? Folks, if you don't know Edom Games, it's time to get to know Edom Games. Click that little heart. You see that little heart there? See that little heart there? Click it. Give it some love. Give it some love. Edom Games, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome into the stream. Happy Tuesday. What were you doing on your stream? Tell us all about it. If you would like to share any links, feel free to do so. My bot shouldn't stop you there. If it does, we'll figure it out. But feel free to share any links you might have. We are learning about, for anyone who's new here, yes, you can work with arrays and lists in Visual Scripting. I'll show you an example. I wrote a script to randomly select an item from an arbitrary list. Working on a roguelike RPG in Unity, hurting my head. It happens. It happens. Edom, Raiders. I am Captain Coder. Captain Coder is me, and me is Captain Coder. And Captain Coder is a computer science educator. My full-time job, my Monday to Friday job, is teaching computer science and programming at a school for ages 10 to 14, and I absolutely love it. This stream is dedicated to learning and coding and growing together as a crew. And this month, we are preparing for Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam. You can find the link right there. But let me have this guy tell you about it. You don't need me to tell you about it. We're going to have this guy tell you about it. This guy right here knows what he's talking about. Hello and welcome to Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam. I am Captain Coder. Captain Coder is me, and me is a computer science educator. And Captain Coder wants you to learn something new about game dev, whether it's your first time programming, whether it's the first time doing pixel art, whether it's the first time making music, whether it's the first time working on a team. I want you to learn something new because in this community, we learn and code and grow together as a crew in this. That's right, Edom. That's right, Kay. That's right, Wolfie. I want you to learn something new. Game Jam, the goal isn't to make the best game possible. The goal is to learn as much as possible, and I believe you can do it. And when you submit a game to this Game Jam, you are encouraged to also submit a... It wasn't made today. I actually think this might be a slightly different shirt, but I'm not sure. Devlog, blog, or vlog describing the resources you used, what you learned, and how others can utilize it. That said, just by submitting a devlog, vlog, or blog, you are entered to win $50. We're going to be doing... You hear that? $50. You could win $50 just by submitting a game, submitting a devlog, saying what you learned, how you learned it, and sharing it with the community. 5 drawings here. 5 unique people will win $50 just by learning something new and sharing it with the community. Additionally, myself and 2 other guest judges will be reviewing all of the devlog, vlogs, or blogs to see which one we think is the most educational, and one beautiful person is going to win. Disclaimer, you don't have to be beautiful, but you're all beautiful. And $250. $250, 2 people. I know I said 1 in that video. This video is from last year's Game Jam. 2 people will win $250 for sharing the most educational. And it could be you just for learning something. So join the Discord, check us out on Twitch, and we hope you have a wonderful time with this Game Jam. I hope you guys will consider signing up for the Game Jam. I hope you'll have a beautiful time doing it. Ryan, have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for popping in. Edom, thank you so much for it. If you got a run, no worries, my friend. Thank you so much for bringing your crew in with us. How many K did we win? How many K? I don't know. I don't understand the question. I don't understand the question. We're updating. All right, so what were we doing? We were getting a new font in here. So let's add in this font. Create a new folder, fonts. I was adding in a font that I wanted to use here. Add the joystick mono space in here, this font. And then I'm going to use TextMesh Pro, the asset creator. I'm just going to have this generate a font for us from this file. Generate a font atlas for us. And let's save that. Let's see if we like this font. I think this is one I've used before. What have you found being hard to do with visual scripting? Great question. I think part of this just comes because I am familiar. I've been using Unity for about 2 years now. And I'm relatively familiar with Unity's scripting system and the tools. I am having trouble getting scripts to talk to each other without having to create giant mono objects. So for example, I want to add in an event, and I don't know how to add an event to a visual script. So in my player, let me show you this. In my player here, when I take damage, I actually want to have a Unity event called like player health changed. And I want to send that to other scripts. I want scripts to be able to register themselves on that event. I don't know how to do that yet. I think we can do it. My biggest complaint about Unity's visual scripting right now is it's hard to Google examples. I think very few people are using it, and fewer people are writing tutorials on how to use it. The documentation feels quite good. I just haven't gone through the trouble of learning how to make my custom event nodes yet. And so it's something that I'm pretty sure we'll be able to do. I just don't know how to do it, and I kind of want just an easy way to do it. So see how I can like add, there's these custom events I can add and give them names. Can you make action events? See that, maybe, I don't know. That's essentially what I want to do. You can write functions, they become these graphs, right? So graph can be a function. So for example, I have a graph that is, let me go find it. I have a script here called getRandomElement. This is essentially a function that says, given a list, get the number of items in the list, randomly select a number between 0 and the number of items in the list. Oh, there's a bug here, I think. No, exclusive. And then get the item and return it. All right, so I have like this function given a list can get me a random item out of that list. So I can write functions. I'd call this a function. This is a subgraph. And then I can reuse this. So I can use this in a variety of places. And another example would be this grabber. Can you make generic methods? I think you can. I don't know how yet. I think you can because, let me show you. This is why I think you can. You can set the type of T in a bunch of places. I don't know how to create a node with this. That said, you can actually just write a C#. So one of the things that's really cool is I could just go write a C# function and then drop that into my graph. So if I go write a C# function, it becomes available in my scripting language. Easy to do that. I am forcing myself to not allow myself to write C# code because my plan is to create a class where we learn about visual scripting. And so we'll see how far I can take this. To answer your question is, I think we can. I don't know how yet. And that's why I would have done that on my get random. You'll see here my get random is not generic. It's just any list. But I don't need to know the type on this list. So it's just any list. I could have made this a list of a specific type, but I wanted to be able to pass in any list to this. So I don't know how to make it a list of type T. I feel like there's probably a way to do it. I just haven't figured it out. Like I said, there's a little bit of trickery in trying to figure out exactly how this works because there's not a lot of resources on it, sadly. Or I've really only been doing it for 2 days, so I may just not have found the resources yet. And I often just I tend to dislike tutorials, so I'm leaning pretty heavily on like my own knowledge of programming and what I feel like it should have versus what maybe it actually has. For my text here, this is going to be game over text. I've never tried doing a visual scripting, so I'm new. When it comes as close as I've come to is some shader work. Yeah, so shader graph is pretty cool. I've never used shader graph, but I've seen it and it feels pretty similar. All right, I like that font. There's our game over font. There it is, game over. Like that, so when we get destroyed, we need to turn game over on. So this is where things get a little bit. We're gonna set this to disabled to start out. Our game over text is gonna be off. This is where things get a little bit weird, or feel like, how does it work with scenes? Oh no, ask lots and lots of questions. Ask lots and lots of questions. Let me show you. So here's my inspector. My player, you just attach your scripts to it, like the way you would a mono behavior. Here's a better, the way you would add a mono behavior, it's the same. So we have a script, they're just called script machines instead of whatever you call it, and then you specify which graph you're using. So all of my scripts are down here, and part of my script machine, I can reorder them. So they're all at the bottom. Maybe that'll be a little bit easier to see. So I have my player collision controller, I have my player fire controller, I have my player movement controller. And so some of them are quite simple. So here's the other thing that I absolutely love. Here's something I think is so cool about my game. When you run it, you can watch the data flowing through your graphs, and you can see the variables change in real time. This is, I think, going to be invaluable for teaching about how Unity works and how the data transforms. So you'll notice I got destroyed, so the script no longer exists in my scene, so I can't access it. The other thing that's really cool is you can modify the graph in play mode and the changes to the graph stay. If you change the variables, they don't, just like if you're editing them in the inspector. But you can rewire your graph at runtime while the game is running, and that's pretty cool. That is really cool, I think. But I really like that aspect of it. And a lot of people are telling me this looks like blueprints from Unreal, and so I'll probably take another thing I want to learn about is Unreal this month. So I'm probably going to do a game in Godot GD script. I've done Godot C#. I haven't done anything in GD script, so I'll probably do some Godot GD script. I'm planning to do some Unreal stuff. I'm planning to learn about Blender this month as well. So a lot of stuff going on. Quite a bit of stuff going on this month that I want to learn about. What I was going to say is I want to make it so when my player is destroyed, so this is my player collision. My goal is to learn something new every day this month. My goal is to learn something new every day. I may not get there. I may not get there. All right, so if our player blows up, all right, so I'm going to show explosion. And then what I want to do is I want to wait a moment. We're going to wait 3 seconds. And then I want to turn on my game over. So my scene, this is interesting. Is this just because I want there to be a variable in my scene? I'm wondering if I add this here. I'm going to try something. If I add in game over text, so I want a variable in my scene. This is just going to be a game object. And I want to be able to just turn it on. It's interesting. Let me see. It would be my game over text is actually a Text Mesh Pro. Text Mesh Pro UGUI. How does that show up? Can I drag it in there? Game object. Huh. So it seems like it doesn't know about this in my scene. Let me click on my player. You know, coroutine. Yeah. This is a coroutine. This is a coroutine right here. So this is actually a coroutine that happens. So for example, I do my animation that way. If we look at my animation, I have this for loop that turns the sprite on and off over and over. So it actually, when I take damage, this flickering is actually a coroutine. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Can do coroutines. I'm not sure. I suspect you cannot do asynchronous calls. Maybe. I haven't tried, but in Unity you tend to try and avoid async unless you're doing something with dots, just because they're going to cause problems in your web builds. You don't want to use async. At least for me, I do web builds. So you got to be careful if you do that. Even on mobile, they can cause problems. So on desktop, I think between Mac, Linux, and Windows, asynchronous calls will be okay. But I think there's some undefined behavior on mobile, ? I'm not 100% sure if that's entirely true. I know with web builds, they won't work they won't work. And that's just because the way web is single threaded. Okay. When we take here, we're going to show an explosion. What I want to do is on this, I'm going to add an output here. Finished. I've had very few issues with web build in Unity. Personally, every game I've ever made in Unity, I've published as a web build, and I've run into very few issues outside of. I always use the built-in render pipeline. If you're not using the built-in render pipeline, I think you can run into issues. And threading, you cannot do. Saving and communication, interesting. So like maybe multiplayer. I've never had problems saving into the file storage in web browser. I've done that several times. Yeah, so I haven't had problems with that. I've communicated with Firebase as well. Firebase backend. But that's just my personal experience, right? I've heard other people say they've had challenges with it as well. I haven't. So after we show the explosion, I'm gonna wait for 3 seconds. Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't had any issues saving into the browser file storage. And then connecting to Firebase was super. Oh, with web, it's a little bit tricky actually, because Firebase isn't built into the web. I had to use, there's some external package asset I added to do Firebase with web. I did. You're correct with that. WebGL is built in Firebase, or Unity's Firebase SDK is specifically for mobile, and doesn't work out of the box with WebGL. You have to modify your index.html file, and there's some things you have to do with it to get cross origin working, I think. All right, so show explosion, wait for 3 seconds, and then we're gonna turn on in our scene, there's going to be a game object. This is going to be our game over text. Game object. There we go. And then we're just going to game object dot set active. This should go here. And we're gonna set active to true. So after we're destroyed, let me go ahead and just set my player's damage. I don't know if this will 100. Boom. And then, oh, this script got destroyed. So we can't, we can't do that. I'd have to start this on a separate object because show explosion destroys us. That's interesting. I know that you have to export without compression to go to itch, which is interesting because they're trying to save space. Your exportation can't have compression. So there were some things you had to do. So you're right, there are several barriers to publishing a WebGL game. Now that I'm looking at it, it's like there are these barriers here. I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember having to figure out how to publish to itch a Unity WebGL build. I'm not destroying this, but I'm setting it to inactive. Hero Fox, congratulations on your number 6. Not bad. Yeah, you can't have compression on itch.io. So it's our game object's not going to be. We need our game. This game object needs to continue existing. So we need to instead turn off the player sprite. And I think we need to move our polygon collider down there as well. There's several things we need to do. It's like our player. Let's see what happens here. I'm gonna take our polygon collider copy component, paste component as new. A little worried about that. I am for this project, I'm using the legacy input system. Previously, let's make sure this still works. Typically I will use the game object has been destroyed. Typically I will use the new input system, but I just happen to be using it here because it doesn't require any. The new input system, you have to like import and do stuff. So my idea is I'm trying to keep this project as simple as possible. Exactly. Normally I would, like on a bigger project, I absolutely would. Okay, so what's interesting, I don't want to deactivate this because this is where my this is where my coroutine is running. So to get my game over to show up, I can't deactivate this yet. I could. This is where the signals would be nice. Being able to do on action, do a thing. Maybe I need to go do that. I could also just turn off my sprite. That's another option. So I start making concessions in this way. Rather than setting active, I could do my sprite renderer here. Like this. I don't think I like that. So I set my damage to 100. Yeah, my sprite render, and then we get game over. That's interesting. The collision, the collider and stuff will still exist. Surprised the sprite render didn't turn off. I could also have it just show game over. Yeah, I want to send a message somewhere without writing a script. I suppose. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. I can add a. Oh, that's interesting. How do I get it to invoke it? I need to do. This would be one way. I could just do this. Bypass this wait. The problem is the wait. But I want it to wait. So I could have it show it immediately. I want it to wait to show it. So I can't deactivate it. Have a good rest, my friend. Get some sleep. Wolf Heat, keep coding. Keep growing. Keep being the best you can be. You're welcome back anytime. Have a beautiful day, my friend. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Maybe. Yeah, keep coding. That's right. Keep being awesome. What do I desire most? I need to figure out how to do custom events. You can create custom event node with a C# script. Yeah, I thought so. You can customize all aspects of your event. Don't want to do it with C#. If I can get away with not using C#, that's what I want to do. Custom event nodes are always accessible from the Fuzzy Finder. You don't need to write your own code to use these custom events in a script craft. They don't require an event listener. You can use the custom event node to create multiple custom events as long as you give each event a unique name. You can also customize the number of arguments that the custom event node can send. To configure a custom event node, you need to provide a unique name, a game object, the number of arguments the custom event receives. For more information on how to configure and use a custom event, see Add a Custom Event Node. To trigger a custom event, use a custom event trigger node and provide the unique name. Oh, okay. Okay, that seems easy enough. Let's create a script. Create visual scripting, script graph. Show game over. Okay. And we're going to add in a custom event trigger. Oh, no, not a trigger. We want the custom. This is what I was confused before. Custom event. The name of the custom event is on player damaged. Let's do on player destroyed. Okay. 0 arguments. When the player is destroyed, all we're gonna do is set the game. Oh, we're gonna This is a coroutine. When the player is destroyed, wait 3 seconds. And then we're going to set the game over text to true. Game object.set active true. So we're going to set the game over text to true. So when this triggers, there are 0 arguments. It's just an event. It's an action. It's an action. Let's attach this. What's interesting is you know what? I don't even need to have this now. Oh, nice. I wish there was so one thing that feels odd is I would love to have a place where all of my custom events were listed, and maybe that exists and I just don't know about it yet. Let me go over to my game over text. We're just going to add this to show here. Did this add in? I don't think it did. Script machine. And this is just going to have the game over text. Show, okay. When we take damage, we show the text. And I could even, oh, this is kind of nice here. I'm going to leave it alone for now and see if I can just get it to call it. All right, so on player destroyed, wait for 3 seconds, then turn on that object. So it needs to be my on player here. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be so good. Let's go into our player collision. And rather than doing this, we're going to be able to move show explosion somewhere else too, I think. This is going to be sweet. So trigger custom event trigger. This is where this would be nice. I'm going to trigger on player destroy. Well, it should on player destroyed. I'm going to rename that. This is where I would like to be able to name these in different places. So on player destroyed. Okay, and let's go to our show game. This is on player destroyed. Does this trigger? Let's set our player health. Player. Can't find my player here. Player. Object. Max out their damage. So that way when we get hit, boom. 2, 3. Please. No. Didn't happen. I wonder if it's because I set it at inactive first. I really thought that was going to work. Disappointed with that. Let me pull this out so it's a little bit easier for me. I keep having to change the size of stuff there. On player destroyed. Oh, I set it. All right, should set active false. Notice that was checked. All right, I didn't get any errors. That's why I was confused. Let's see if I can get hit by these 4 times by these big ones. I didn't see it trigger. Oh no, I do want to set it active. What am I talking about? This should set active because we want to turn on the game over. How do I know? Yeah. Let me go into my that guy Doru. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back. How you been? Happy Tuesday. It's weird to see Captain Coder on a Tuesday evening. US time. I don't know what time it is for you, but I hope you're having a beautiful day. But yeah, we're playing basketballs, b-balls. Just woke up. Nice, nice. I've been up all day, and we're spreading the word about Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam, which is coming up. Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam is coming up June 19th. Over $700 in prizes. just for learning stuff. Just for learning stuff. 5 random drawings for people who submit stuff. And then 2 grand prizes, which I'm super excited about. The trigger here, let's go to my player object. How the heck have you been? And if it's too personal, you don't have to answer, but I'm just, so happy to see you. What if I change... I'm wondering if this is... I need to change the order here. Or if I did change the order, if that would be better. Because ideally, I'm just going to show the trigger this when the player gets destroyed. Class is already this semester and I've been itching for Gem. Nice. Yeah, it's coming up. I'm super excited for it. I'm finished on June 12th, it's my last day, and then we have a class trip. And so I'll be traveling. Come on. Yeah, I'm wondering if I need to wait a moment. It's just so frustrating because I'm not sure. Let's do this. I want to know whether or not this was even triggered. I feel like it should. My custom triggers don't seem to be firing. Or I don't know how to fire them. This is my first time using visual scripting. In the vein of learning something new, I'm trying to learn visual scripting in Unity. Which is, if you know, if you've been here, you know that I've done quite a bit of Unity stuff. So it shows it firing. Okay. So it's definitely lighting up. The question is, where is this going? I was under the impression that if I did that, this game object is turned off. And I'm trying to run it as a coroutine. This game object is turned off and I'm trying to run it as a coroutine. So what I need, it's attached to my game over text here. That is what's happening. Okay, so I need to let's duplicate this. So I want to call wait for 3 seconds. All right, so. I suppose what I could do is instead, so I think this is firing, instead have this text mesh pro component. Exactly. I was like, I would like you to wait. And then the thread is like not active, it's turned off. There's a component I would like to turn on. Okay. So the component. Component I want to turn on is this Text Mesh Pro component. This guy. So I think what I could do, I'm going to add a get component. I'm going to get a component, Text Mesh Pro UGUI. And I can move, actually don't need to put there. Instead, we do this and this. And, this isn't a game object anymore, it's components. We're gonna do component.enable set enabled. How was I doing it? What variable? Text Mesh Pro UGUI Text Mesh Pro dot set enabled. There it is. Okay. To true. Okay. All right, maybe, possibly. Let's try it now. Yeah, this object was not act. Oh, of course we see it. We gotta disable that. Another option would be put it as a subcomponent. Boop. Boop. And boop. Come on. Come on. Show on my screen for the love that is all for the love of all that is holy. All right, let's try something here on update. Is this running? It is. Okay. So it turned on there. So this just isn't triggering. Ah. This does activate it. My custom event. Can I do on custom event? No. On player destroyed. All right, I took the wait out. Let me turn it into a not coroutine. See if the coroutine's causing problems. Boop.
Whoa.
Fortune Favors with the raid. Welcome in. Fortune Favors, how the heck have you been? Did not trigger. Did not trigger. Fortune Favors, welcome into the stream. Fortune's favorites. How do I say I feel like I've said Fortune's favors every time we chat. Fortune's favorite. Welcome to the stream. Happy Tuesday, my friend. Yeah. How was your stream? Tell us all about it. If you have any links for us, feel free to send them our way, folks. Be sure to give Fortune's favorite a follow. A follow. I am working on learning visual scripting, which I've never done before and has been a fascinating journey. In the spirit of Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam, we are learning all about it. Clover, let's check it out. Clans 06 Clans, welcome into the stream 06. How are you on this beautiful day? Notice web demo seems to have issues played on Mac computers that cause the browser to freeze up and crash. This is a known problem with Godot as they continue to update versions. I hear that they've got some good updates coming in 4.3. Did some updates on the itch page. It's got an intro. Yeah, welcome to the stream. Happy to have you here on this beautiful day. Fortune's favorite. Thank you so much for bringing in your crew here. Let's take a look. Clover is an early development Clovervania style game. What is this, like Cloverfield? What is Clovervania? I've never heard of that. This means it has a focus on puzzles, unlockables, map exploration, and secrets to be discovered. The big difference is that our goal of this genre is to have zero combat with a focus on story, puzzles, and relaxing adventure with an occasional high-stakes challenge. The world that Clover knows is experiencing sudden changes due to outside forces. Their sense of curiosity and adventure causes them to investigate a mysterious figure, which leads them to discover a bit of magic. As Clover dives deeper into the mystery of who this character is and tries to fix the world, they're breaking in. Cool. Let's see how it works on full screen here. Oh, it doesn't like the mouse is gone. We got arrow keys or WASD. Puzzlevania, but we are going to try and break into a new genre type, a Clovervania. Gotcha. Space to jump. Nice. How long have you been working on this? Charms collected. Can I do a down jump? Okay, so I'm gonna have to come around. I'm assuming I have to come around to get that one there. I always love your game is saying, hey, there's a thing over here. You're gonna have to come back for this right away. Telling us, hey, there's a thing. You're gonna wanna try and come. Can I get up there? Probably gonna be able to get that again later as well. So I like that. All right. Ooh, scrolling scene there. So I should be able to come back now. It tantalized me. Make me wanna go back in it. Did a complete overhaul. Gotcha. 2 out of 7. I'm assuming I need to get something that'll let me get up there. Or come down from above, perhaps. Alright. E to interact.
Excuse me, can I ask you a question?
You can see me. Yes, were you hiding? No, but being a ghost means that living creatures usually can't perceive me. I'm sorry, Zombie Cat, but I don't have any brains to give you. What? I don't want brains. I want to know where I am. Wait, am I a zombie? I am not hungry for brains, and I don't remember. Well, you are the most alive zombie I have ever seen. Want to play a game? I hid several clover charms around here. It's actually insane how much hard work and skills have to go into game making. Absolutely. Absolutely. I guess I can look for them as I explore this place. Clans, do you make any games? Or have you made any? So I see a clover up there. I don't know how to get to it yet. If I interact again, is it the same things? I found you. Found them already. Well, no, but it's shinier than I remember. Remember where I hit them. Good luck on your search for the rest of them. This is cool. Nice little platformer. We're gonna have to figure. Oh, missed the jump. There we go. All right, can I come back? The switch. Nice. But I want to fall down. Oh, I missed it. Yeah, I try and, all of my things are small little prototypes. But I've done quite a few jams, but I hope you'll consider joining Learn You a Game Jam. All right, fall. There we go. Got it. And I got to go back for that other one. Nice little technical demo, though. Feels pretty good. Clearly, it's just a technical demo for the sprites and stuff. You'll get to that stuff as things proceed. I like that we have this switch here. It turns on and off. How long have you been programming and doing game dev? There's that. Okay. Nice. This is awesome. Fortunes, thank you so much for sharing this with us. Points, add Fortune's favorite. 500 points to you, my friend. Incredible stuff. Folks, be sure to go check it out. Be sure to follow. I just do server-side application and services. Gotcha. Building an API currently for game servers, and it checks if a player is on that player's whitelist or not. Hopefully, going to be able to expand it. Very nice. Oh, you're gonna try Mechanically Challenged. Very cool. For anyone who doesn't know, Mechanically Challenged is a monthly game dev challenge hosted by myself and Muniz. Sorry for the light mode. I don't know why we're in light mode. I thought I had switched my settings. But this month's challenge is to implement portal physics here. By doing so, I'm gonna try, but you keep picking really hard challenges. Muniz was in charge of this one. So I'm gonna blame Muniz. You can blame Muniz for the difficulty on this one. Last month we did slopes and loops and Sonics, and then the month before we did dropping through platforms. I think we may have made the first one a little bit too easy. And so these ones seem extra hard, but I had a ton of fun with this one. Yeah, Dead Cells is a fantastic game, Doru. I agree. I don't know if you agree. You're saying Dead Cells, but yeah. So this month is to make portal physics. If you can, 2 people will win $50 each for trying to create it in a way that is reusable and shares how it's done and explain it to new, not necessarily new people, but other developers. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Infuriatingly good. It's addictive. It's an addictive game. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun with these things. But I hope you guys will check out Learn You a Game Jam. For anyone who hasn't heard about Learn You a Game Jam, I'm gonna let this guy here explain it to you for me. Hello and welcome to Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam. I am Captain Coder. Captain Coder is me, and me is a computer science educator, and Captain Coder wants you to learn something new about game dev, whether it's your first time programming, whether it's the first time doing pixel art, whether it's the first time making music, whether it's the first time working on a team. I want you to learn something new because in this community, we learn and code and grow together as a crew. In this game jam, the goal isn't to make the best game possible. The goal is to learn as much as possible, and I believe you can do it. And when you submit a game to this game jam, you are encouraged to also submit a devlog, blog, or vlog describing the resources you used, what you learned, and how others can utilize it. That said, just by submitting a devlog, vlog, or blog, you are entered to win $50. We're going to be doing 5 drawings here. 5 unique people will win $50 just by learning something new and sharing it with the community. Additionally, myself and 2 other guest judges will be reviewing all of the devlog, vlogs, or blogs to see which one we think is the most educational, and one beautiful person is going to win. Disclaimer, you don't have to be beautiful. You're all beautiful, but you don't have to be to win. $250, and it could be you just for learning something. So join the Discord, check us out on Twitch, and we hope you have a wonderful time with this game jam. I hope you guys will consider checking it out. It's going to be a blast. You're going to be learning all kinds of good stuff. All right, so in the spirit of learning new things, I'm trying to learn something new every day this month. And so I've been learning the last 2 days. I've been playing around with Unity's visual scripting to make a little prototype space shooter game, a shmup, if you will. This is what I have so far. I'm trying to get the game over text to show up on the screen. I'm learning about, again, events here. So trying to make my events work. So I have this health bar, my player ship takes damage. I think that the explosion's not working right now. I turned it off because I'm trying to get this text to show up, the game over text. And I just can't quite figure out how to get these events to talk with each other. I'm clearly doing something wrong. But in my player event here, so my player has a collision event, my player's collision event. I cannot seem to trigger this event properly. And then it'll show this explosion. This explosion destroys my player. Fortune favorite, that's sort of my feeling on it, is as a person who has about 30 years of programming experience, it's hard because I haven't taken the time to learn it. I remember last time I went to do it, I was like, oh man. The first time I touched it, I spent 20 minutes and I'm like, nope, just gonna write some code. It's a little bit easier. That said, there's a lot of really cool things, and I think it could be I'm planning to write a course for my fall semester, for my term in the fall. I have found my students, I teach 2 Intro to Unity courses. I teach more than just that, but I teach 2 Intro to Unity courses. The first one, there's a 3D one and a 2D one. The 3D one is a no coding one. It's about doing level design. So it's called 3D level design in Unity. You learn about the Unity interface. You learn about prefabs. You learn about the inspector, how to set variables in the inspector. So I've created a game. Students make levels for that game using Pro Builder, adding in their own models, learning how to do materials and textures, learning about physics materials. So they learn a lot of Unity stuff, but don't write any code. I also teach a 2D class where they make several small projects. The first 2 have no code, and then the last one, they start doing a little bit of scripting. And students who have had prior programming tend to do fine in it. Students who have had no programming at all, it's just that's where a lot of them fall off. So many of them fall off there because it's really hard, in my opinion, to learn game dev programming without having any past programming experience, because it's like, what is all this stuff? There's all these things, or maybe I'm just a bad teacher. It could be that too. So I am trying, this feels like it could be a good bridge for those 2 things. I think students get discouraged when they go to write code and it feels really hard and they don't understand what's going on. The cool thing about the visual scripting, and I keep showing people this, the thing that is so cool to me, let me show you my player movement script. Here's my player movement visual script here. If I'm in play mode, it shows how the data flows through the script. And I think this is really cool. So let me zoom in here. We're getting our axes here, and we can see the value. This is my horizontal axis. We can see the value changing when I press the button. What does that button do? I don't have to do console.logs. I don't have to do debug.log to have students see that value. We can just look at it right there. Let me try not to die this time. Okay. And then we can see how that data is transformed. So we have these 2 inputs flowing in here. And then we have this data type here. It's a good question. We can pause, right? So we could pause. I don't think there's a way to add in breakpoints. Maybe breakpoints. Debug break. Look at that. Oh. Oh, let's try this out. Let's try this out. I've never done this. Okay, let's try a thing. On key board input. Let's make it if I press, let's just I press backspace. We learning. I was like, I don't know if this is possible. Let's try this. I wonder, I might have to enable debug mode. I'm not sure. On what key did I set? Backspace. Yo, the whole thing paused. You can add a breakpoint. Look at that. That is way easier than setting up the debugger in C#. That is super cool. That is so cool. My question though would be, can I do a single step? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that. Oh, that is really cool. So the answer is yes. Yes, you can. Debug. What else do we got in debug? Log, expose, break, assert. You can do draw, raise. You can do all this regular stuff as well. Just push the arrow on debug. Well, yeah, it starts playing. Oh. I think you're saying on this. There was a. This just starts playing. Oh, step. You are correct. You are correct. Oh. That is really cool. That is really cool. So, TIL. Today I learned we can do that. That is really cool. That is really cool. So, what I'm trying to do right now. All right. So, you caught me at a time when I'm trying to add a game over screen. Okay. So when the player gets destroyed, boom, boom, take enough damage, another hit, one more. When the player gets destroyed, I would like to wait 3 seconds and then show a game over screen. It's pretty easy to show just a game over screen without waiting. And I can do this really easily in my collision script. All right, so my collision script here, player collision. I can show an explosion and then turn on. Do I have that over here? My game over, it's my explosion prefab. Oh, it's in my scene. Oh, I took it out. I can just turn on this game over object. Game over text. Let's add this back in. Game object. And then we have a game over text like this. I can just put this in here and say game object dot set active to true. Okay. So when I blow up, I can make my game over text show up. All right. So this is pretty straightforward. Let me go get destroyed real quick. Maybe I should start my damage higher. All right. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, I know why. Because I was trying a different approach here. Game over text. All right. There's my game over text. I had like removed it. Let me set my player's health. Player, object. We're just going to start them at 100 damage. Lance, let's get a hat going. Thank you so much for that, Lance. Welcome in. I hope you're having a beautiful day. We're close. We're getting close to having triggers. I've almost figured it out. All right, so I'm going to make it so if I get hit here, boom, game over shows up. That's easy. That's easy. The waiting 3 seconds is challenging. So I can't just say wait 3 seconds and show it because this destroys the game object. It doesn't destroy, it hides, it deactivates the player object, and it no longer runs coroutines, right? So I can't just say wait 3 seconds. So I'm trying to send a message to another game object that can turn on our object for us. So I've written a very simple script, show game object. So it's show game over. What's interesting is it game over text. I'm going to move this onto, do I have a thing called game controller? I'm going to move this script somewhere else. Hang on. But Lance, I hope you're doing really well, my friend. Welcome back to the stream. It's always a pleasure to have you here. I'm going to add this. Let's put this on. I thought I had an object called game controller. Let me create an object. Game controller. I need to, I know how to do it I know how to do it in a script, in a mono behavior. I know how to do it using an event. I'm having trouble understanding how to do events in the scripting, visual scripting. So I'm trying to understand that. It'd be very easy to do. I know how to do it as a C# script, as a mono behavior, in like a coding way. I know how to do it. The visual scripting is where I'm running into, how do I do it here? You must be able to do it. And I'm trying to figure that out. Script machine here. Let's add our show game over to this. And now we have this object game over text. And all we're going to do here is we're going to set this active game object dot set active to true. This is like a really, really simple script that says when I run, set this to true. So we can demonstrate this on update. It says just always set this to true. I'm trying to get this custom event to work. On player destroyed, set active. And I'm wondering if it's because I need to have this on. So maybe this needs to actually be the player object that's going to trigger it. That would make sense. Lance says, I'm doing well. I have figured out my homeworld-ish movement gizmo. Super cool. Took it over to a separate project so I could muck around with breaking the main one. It even has height offset for destinations. That sounds awesome. Have you posted an update on the Discord? No pressure to do so if you haven't. I'm just curious. I think I need my player object. Player. Game object. I bet this is what I'm missing. Because this is the thing that's going to trigger it. So I need to listen to my player. I bet that is the thing I'm missing. So it's not like a global object. So I can look at some prefabs. Is there a scene view here? No. This is what I need to do. I bet if I finished reading the documentation, I would have seen that. And now it might make sense to just call this on destroyed. Oh, there it is. So now I can say that this is a coroutine. And we are going to do a wait for 3. And then we can add in like play the game over music. Oh, let's try it. Boom, 2, 3, game over. There it is. There it is. All right. All right. So I've figured out how to do events. Cool. Cool. Not yet. I just got it working earlier this morning. I still need to bring it into the main project. I will get that hooked up, then get the ship actually moving. Not sure how to set this up via visual, but I had a timer manager once that I could call on to create and track timers, execute functions on timer, etc. It was basically a central controller that the game ops could poke when they wanted something. Yeah. So I'm realizing, oh, this is cool. I have this now. So it's like my player is changing. So I need to register on my player. Who am I listening to? In this case, I'm listening to my player. When my player fires events, things can happen. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to simplify. Now that I have this, I can really simplify a lot of things in my player collision controller. This becomes super. It says when my player is destroyed, turn the game over text on after 3 seconds. This script becomes super simple. Okay. In my player collision, when my player is destroyed, I'm going to actually make it just run the show explosion, right? It sort of right now is going to here, but I can just make it so I have a show explosion here when my player is destroyed. And anything I want to register when the player gets destroyed, I can do that. Show explosion actually feels fine here. But I can, rather than having my update damage here, this feels weird to have update damage here. I can now make it so that my damage bar just knows how to update whenever we take damage, whenever the player value, the number on the player, the hit points change. Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. I like that a lot. All right, so I'm going to take this subgraph. I'm going to turn it into a real graph. Let's convert it. And so we're going to put this in our scripts. This is update damage bar here. So we have that. I can remove this subgraph, and instead I'm going to create a new event, trigger custom event, and it has one argument, which is going to be the amount of damage the player has taken. So on damage changed, and we're going to pass the argument in here. And so instead of specifically calling update that, we can do this instead. And this is going to be so cool. It's going to be so cool. We're going to be able to simplify so many things here. So many things now that we know how to do this. So I don't need to have this. This subgraph can go directly on the damage bar. Okay, we need one argument here. So the argument sounds terrifying. I've heard it's actually quite nice. I've never done it, but I've heard it's quite nice. The damage here, I want this. So I need one of these. All right, so it's going to say how much damage. When the damage changes, we're just going to propagate that message out to people. I need to add, let's go ahead and remove this. I'm going to go onto my, just so you can see what's going on in my inspector. I'm selecting my damage bar. My damage bar is now going to know how to update itself. Okay. And so I'm going to add the scripter, the source graph here. We're going to say update damage bar here. And the event, this is a custom event here, is called on damage changed. I don't like this. I wish there was a manifest of events somewhere. I don't like that I have to stringly put this in here like this. It's going to have one argument. The argument is the actual damage. So I no longer have to do get damage. I just pass this in like that. And then damage bar. I no longer need to have this as part of my scene. It's actually this thing. Kiss Killer, welcome to the stream. I teach computer science and programming at a school for ages 10 to 14. More specifically, I teach a lot of C#. I teach HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. I teach Lua, and then I teach some generic game dev stuff. I also happen to teach a music class, but I mostly teach computer science and programming. Great question, and welcome to the stream. Happy to have you here. I am learning visual scripting right now. I've never done visual scripting, but I have felt it would be a good bridge, potentially a good bridge, when I do some of my no coding game dev classes. Go from no coding to visual scripting to C# scripting. So I feel like it could be a nice transition between the two. A lot of my students who have not done any programming before, when we introduce scripting in game dev, a lot of them get nervous and aren't sure. Or I have a lot of students who won't sign up for classes that have programming because they're a little bit scared of it. So how do I get all of these people excited and interested? And so I'm learning about visual scripting here. This is Learn You a Game Jam month. And so I'm trying to learn something new every day here. A great question. All right, so when our damage happens, isn't really made for game, but given its performance and great concurrency, why isn't? I've never used Golang. From what I understand, it's really used for web APIs for the most part. I've never written anything in Golang, but I've seen some really cool stuff. I imagine people have used it to make games. It's just may not be suited, and the type of people who want to make games that may have trouble seeing it. I don't know. It's a great question. You could say the same thing. I guess people are making lots of games with Rust, actually. They say you could say the same thing about Rust, but that's actually, I don't think that's true. All right, so we don't need that anymore. The damage bar, we're going to leave this here for now. And this is actually going to be our player. I don't know if that answered your question, Kisskler. Entirely made in Golang. Mythfall is the made in Golang. Cool. I didn't know that. All right, so when our player damage changed, let's see if this works. And then this damage bar rectangle is actually going to change into a object variable. And it's just going to reference itself. All right. I need to, well, we'll see. All right, it did update. I need to make it so my player starts with some health. My player starts with 100% damage dealt. That's really cool. All right, let's make sure this updates. Take damage. All right, so we can send that via events here. Fight with Golang's garbage collector if you want some stuff to end up on the stack. Gotcha. I do think that's one really nice thing about C# is your ability to put things on the stack if you want them there, compared to things like Java. Well, and maybe I'm wrong, but from my understanding, everything in Java has to go on the heap. That isn't a primitive type. So if you want to do things on the stack, you have to be a little bit more explicit. C# does provide some great tooling for doing that. And in game dev, putting stuff on the stack can be really helpful because you can try and make sure the garbage collector doesn't get invoked. Okay. I want to go, speaking of the stack, bonus hat? There it is. Thank you for the bonus hat. Let's get another hat on the stack. Let's get another hat on the stack. Lance, thank you so much for the hats. Okay, so I'm glad I got this event going. That guy Doru, right. All right. Okay. What's cool is now that I have this trigger, I can do all the things I wanted to do. It's like this, I can isolate this code here as this is the code that checks for damage. When I take damage, actually just call these things. I'm not going to do it yet because it's still part of it, but I can totally make it so that these things trigger separately. Now that I have these triggers going on, I really like this. Okay, I was going to simplify my script here that's on my damage bar. I don't need this anymore because it is directly on my damage bar. So having fewer variables in my mind is better. So I'm going to get rid of damage bar. I want to make this an object variable here. So we're going to delete that. We're going to create this. Needs to be a damage bar like this. Congratulations on your number 9. Oh, great work. Congratulations on number 9. And Lance, congratulations on number 8. This is our rect transform like this. And this rect transform, we can say, is just our damage bar. All right, like that. Now we're just going to swap this in. And then we're going to run it again, make sure it's still working. I haven't decided yet, clans. I will say I have been programming for 30 years. This is my first time doing visual scripting. My first, that's not true. My first time I spent 30 minutes doing it and I hated it. That said, the first time I used Unity, I used it for, for an hour or two and I hated it. And it's just because I leaned so heavily on my programming skills. I lean so heavily on my programming skills because that's what I'm good at. I feel very good in it. It's this nice, safe, comfy place that I love and feel very confident in. I'm not confident in my visual scripting skills. And so I'm forcing myself to learn it because I've heard so many good things about it. There's a lot of research on node-based, not necessarily visual scripting, node-based programming that is indicative so basically is correlated with learning how to program. The translation from node-based programming, specifically in Blender, apparently leads really well. So my answer is I am way better at C# scripting. I suppose when it comes to coding it directly, it does give you the feeling of knowing where everything is in control. Yeah, so like I've been saying quite a bit, I do like being able to see the flow. That said, this code here in a C# script is 1, 2, 3, 4 statements. It's like 4 lines of code. Really less than 4 lines of code. This would probably be 1 line of code in a C#. Let's see. I need to do this. So it would be like one line of code in a method. Yeah. Nice to have an extension or plugin for game development that just allows you to see the flow or something similar to visual scripting. Yeah, so there's some really cool stuff with it. I feel like you could almost do it. It feels like it gets dirty really quick. Walks in, welcome into the stream. Hope you're having a beautiful day. And so I'm working on how can I simplify these scripts to make them tiny? Kiss Killer says scripting gives more control. Visualization is good for planning, architecting. So unless nodes are high level objects, I don't see how it can be productive out of the box. Yeah. So one thing that is cool though is that if you write a C# script, if you make a C# data type, it doesn't even have to be a mono behavior. You instantly have access to it in this visual scripting tool. So I think that is really cool. So if I wanted to create a data type or a mono behavior and I wanted to attach it to something, but then give myself the ability to do some visual scripting with it, I can do that very easily. So that's sort of like a little bit of both. And one of the things I think where this is going to end up shining is specifically going to be state machines. You can set up state machines that show how things flow between them. And then I think you would end up writing a lot of your script logic, bigger things, right? So this is small. This little thing is a small little script, and it just feels like it takes up so much screen space. It takes up a lot of real estate. So I don't necessarily, so I'm trying to make things, it does really make me focus on making things small and concise. I can already feel if I made a big project, this project's tiny, and I already have all of these scripts, right? All of these scripts. So I think there's a give and a take. I think there's a give and a take. I think it's going to be really nice. I think it'll be a nice transitionary tool for introducing people to Unity who might be scared of programming, and give me an opportunity to say, here is a game dev class that has no coding, right? We're going to use this visual tool to visualize the logic. I think it could get some kids really excited enough and give them confidence that they can program. And I think that's the key. Yeah, I think that is the key. Count Oron. Don't introduce to people to Unity. I know. Why would we want people to have Unity? Let's introduce people to disarray. No, that's fine. Count Oron, we're here. We're promoting Captain Coders Learn You a Game Jam. I hope you're excited, Count Oron. I hope you'll give it a shot. It doesn't have to be a Unity game. Learn You a Game Jam coming up on June 19th. We're coming up, so we're out here. We're streaming off my usual schedule, promoting Captain Coders Learn You a Game Jam, trying to spread the word, letting everyone know all about it, how everyone can win. And this game jam is not like other ones. You don't win by having the coolest game. You win by learning the most. You win by learning the most. By entering this game jam, by submitting a devlog, blog, or vlog, you entered to win $50 drawing. We're going to draw 5 random names for anyone who learned something. What about the F# game that you promised me long ago? Count Oron, maybe we'll learn on that this month. Look, this month's all about learning new things. Yeah, Count Oron. Oh, that sounds way more exciting than learning Unreal. That sounds way more exciting than learning Unreal. Maybe we'll do that. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, maybe we'll do that next. Because look, Count Oron, you know I love my functional programming. The question that I always have is, can I do a web build? Can I build it for the web? If I can't build it for the web, it's harder for me to do it because sharing it with people is so much harder. But I don't know. We'll have to look into it. And I forgot about that. But yeah, I'd love to check it out. Here's what we're building right now. 3JS Fable. 3JS is cool. I've done some stuff with 3JS. All right, so we're making. I need to make it so my bounds are a little bit higher, so my player can't go into this space here. We're making this. I could also make it so. Yeah, so we have our player here. We have these meteors. We can reduce, shoot down, shrink them down to size. Boop 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 boop. Pew pew. Pew pew pew. So we can shoot. I don't know what's wrong with me. We can shoot lasers. We're gonna destroy these things. And my favorite thing, the thing that we just implemented is implementing this game over screen. Let's get it here. Boom. Oh, I love those particle effects. That's my favorite part. Game over. Game over, man. Game over. So we're gonna add in a button to try again here momentarily. That said, we've been going for 2 hours and 20 minutes without a break. That's the longest I think I've ever gone without a break. That's probably not true. Some of my collabs. My day job, my day-to-day job is mining application for Blasting Engineer. Whoa, using Redux, React, 3JS. That sounds awesome. React I have found is pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of. I'm not going to say anything wrong with JavaScript. I'm not a huge fan of writing in JavaScript. It's sort of like, I think Java is a great programming language for enterprise purposes. Do I reach for Java to program for fun? I don't. Same with JavaScript. I don't reach for JavaScript to program for fun. And these days, I'm very lucky that I get to just choose whichever programming language I want. I don't work for a company that I get to dictate my programming language these days. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Captain Coder will return. Hang tight. I will be back in a flash. All right, everybody, we're back. Thank you so much for waiting. We are here. We are working on our space adventure. You get to see the rare seated Captain Coder. Normally, I'm sitting at my I'm sitting at my standing desk. I'm standing at my standing desk normally. I've chosen to sit at my standing desk here. Crazy Games, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. What do we want to add in next? I want to add in a try again button. Okay, so I'm curious how to add in a try again button here. So when we get game over, it'll say game over, and a try again will show up here. Or maybe we can make it say press fire to try again. So we get destroyed there. One thing that was interesting that I just noticed that I'd missed before was the damage layer on the player shows above our asteroids, and so let's fix that real quick. Let me show you if we hit the restart in there, and then we'll fix that. We'll add that to the list of to-dos. Okay, so the game over, really it's game over text. We can make it a whole game object, not game over text. Let's go to our game over. Show game over? Damage bar. Should be able to get rid of this now. Okay. Is this still getting from the scene? Show game over. How is that even working? That's weird. Should be from the object. Let's go click on our game controller here. Getting it from the scene. We have our game over text still on the scene. I'm gonna move this to our object. Oh, that one makes sense. It still kind of needs to be on the scene. I could move it onto my object. We'll leave it in the scene. It's the game over screen that's going to show up. Let's add a button into our scene. Go into our scene view here. And for my game over text, I want to add in some more text that says press fire to begin, or insert coin, space to insert coin. Oh, maybe we do that space bar to insert coin. Or left click. We'll just say fire. Add some text. I'm just going to move it down here beneath it. We'll make the text a little bit smaller. I kind of want to make the text blink on and off, and make it a little bit smaller here. So we're going to make this text here, press fire to start. Fire to start. Okay, we'll make it a little bit smaller. That text feels a little bit big there. 24, 18. What do we think about that? That feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. I like fire to start there. All right, now I want to make that font. I'm going to make that font blink. Maybe a little bit higher. Feels a little bit low on the screen. Fire to start. Okay. And I'm going to add in just a little script on it. That's just going to have it flickering on and off, on and off, on and off. We'll call this fire to start text. Let's add in a script machine. And one thing that's kind of nice, this one's so simple. I'm just going to embed it in here. Remember how I was saying, like, yeah, it feels like I have a lot of these little tiny scripts. Maybe it makes sense to embed them inside. So there's going to be blink text every twice a second. Twice per second. Blink text. Let's do blink text. I don't need to have a bunch of information there. Here we go. And then when we start, we're just going to start a coroutine. Okay. Well, I wonder if I need to be on enabled. We'll find out. Maybe I should do it on enabled. On enabled. Yeah. On enable. It's going to be a coroutine. Stop all coroutines. Okay. We want to start by stopping any coroutine that was previously running. We are going to I guess. Oh, this is a little bit harder because I can't turn I need to turn the text on and off on it. So if I look in my inspector, yeah, it's going to be this Text Mesh Pro is going to turn on and off. See, it's blinking over there. We want the Text Mesh Pro. So this object's going to have a text mesh. We'll have it on it. So we'll do this. We'll do get component text mesh pro UGUI. Okay. So we're going to get the text mesh component. And then we're going to have a for or a while loop. All right. And this is just going to be a true loop. Suppose we don't even need to. I'm going to do it this way. I think it feels better to do it this way. While true. So we need a Boolean constant. So while true, so forever. We are going to enable. So we have this thing here that we're going to use inside. Enable. Set enabled. It's going to be text mesh pro UGUI. UI.set enabled. Like this. It's this one. So we're going to go ahead and enable it. We are going to wait for 0.5 seconds. And then we are going to disable it. And it's the same value. Guess I can do this. This is where the scripting feels a little bit annoying, is having to do this with my flow. That's okay. And then we're gonna wait another 0.5 seconds. So this script says when we become enabled, flicker the text on and off essentially forever. We also are going to make sure we stop any existing coroutine, so that way it's not if it gets enabled a second time, it's going to stop any coroutine it had previously. Now if I hit play here, oh, I need to set this to not enabled. There we go. Let's try 0.25. 0.25 feels too fast. 0.33. There we go. Maybe you should just say fire to start. Fire to start. Oh, that's what it says. Press fire. Maybe we should just say press fire. Okay. Not bad. All right, so that was pretty easy. This script here is not too bad. Feels pretty good. Now, I'm gonna nest these two things together in, I guess, that's interesting. I can also make it, here, I'm gonna add another thing here. If I go to my game controller, I essentially wanna steal this code here. I'm gonna say that when the player is destroyed, wait 3 seconds, and then we are going to enable. Oh, I can't do this. Darn, that's annoying. In my game controller here, I have to go to my game controller. I need to in addition to setting this active, I need to set active my fire to start text. Okay, fire to start text, going to add that in there. And if we go to my game controller, I can add this in like so. And we'll just enable that. Okay, so let's go ahead and disable these two. And we should, when we get destroyed, have those turn on. I might even make it so that it says game over and then the fire to start doesn't show up for boom. Surprised. Oh, I have this set on here. There we go. Somehow I checked that box on. There we go. Now it's firing. Now it's flickering. Blinking. Flickering. Let's maintain a 16 by 9. Yeah, 16 by 9. Okay. Now I want to make it so that way when I actually click fire, my game starts. So I need to come up with a sort of start game type thing. So in my game controller, I'm going to create an event. I suppose this, I think this script is actually called show game over. And maybe I should just rename this to like control scripts or add a second script to it. Maybe I'll do that. And then second script, and this one's going to be game start on game start. One thing I'm finding interesting about doing visual scripting is I'm finding I am writing a script for every essentially method I want to do, every function I want to do, rather than for like a high level object. And so it feels very functional in that way, maybe procedural. And I want a custom event here. So this is going to be a custom event. Okay, and this is just going to be on game start. When the game starts, I want to initialize the player. So I'm going to turn off all sorts of things. So essentially turn off my game over text, turn off my fire text. So these things need to get disabled. Okay, so I need to set these as inactive. And I'm realizing something that might be nice is be able to have a list that I pass in somewhere. So I'm going to deactivate these, and I'm going to activate my player. And then I also need to set my player to go to the start of the game. I need to activate himself and go to the start. I could potentially put... Oh, that's an interesting idea. I think procedurally this will make more sense. I was going to say I could potentially put all of this. I could have a trigger that says on game start, and then when this triggers, the game text knows how to turn itself off, the game over knows how to turn itself off, the player knows how to turn itself on. But that feels a little bit spaghetti-ish, having it in a lot of places. It may make more sense. It's interesting. There's many ways to do this type of thing. So I'm going to choose to go about it this way here. 1 second. There we go. Okay. So set active. All right. So we're going to set our fire text to not active. We are then also going to set our game over text to not active. And then we're going to set our player to active. But there's some additional things we need to do. This is why I'm not sure it makes sense here. This one for the player might make sense to put on the player. It says when the game starts. On game start. Like spawn the player. So there, we might want a spawn player function that goes somewhere. Or I can make it a subgraph. Oh. Does the new C# have tail call optimization? I don't. My guess is no. But I know that .NET has tail call optimization. I don't think that the C# compiler does it, but I don't know. It's a great question, Oren. I think I need to make a subgraph called spawn player. Yeah, I think I need a subgraph called spawn player. Let's try that. Okay, so rather than doing this, well, so you need to make sure you're in tail call position, right? So you can't do tail call optimization on any recursive function. Your function needs to be written in tail call position for it to be able to do tail calls. So if you have branching logic, you can't do a tail call optimization. You'd have to set it up in a very specific way. So it turns out like writing merge sort in a way that you can do tail call optimization turns out to be really tricky. It's possible, but it's really tricky to do, and you have to do some interesting isomorphisms. Okay. That could be done, yeah. So you know, it depends. Do you call game anywhere else in there, right? If you just have game there at the end, that's an easy tail call optimization. My guess is that C# doesn't do that, right? So that is how you would typically do like a proc function that precedes an iter function that precedes. Yeah, my guess is that C# will not optimize it. There may be a tail call, C# tail call optimization. My guess is that it doesn't. This is from 2010, so this is going to be super dated. Yeah, my guess is not. Lambda expression.tail call property. So I was thinking you might have something like this, but my question is, or not my question, my thought is it's almost certainly doable. Get the value that indicates if the lambda expression will be compiled with tail call optimization. You might be able to put some kind of property, right? I know that there's a tail call instruction in .NET code, .NET bytecodes. But I don't think you can just do it. I don't think it detects it by default. Or maybe not at all. Maybe not at all. Yeah. I'm going to create a subgraph here for spawning my player. So it's all the things that my player needs to do. Spawn player. Okay. And so spawn player, let's move this here. And the last thing we're going to do is set it active. We'll just have it come in. I wish it by default would do this. No inputs. Finish. Honestly, wish it would have one of those just by default. So that's the last thing it's going to do is set it active. We want to set the player's position. Let's add in a scene here. In our scene, let's go down and add in a player spawn. So we have a player spawn point that we can set. And we're gonna make the player spawn right there. So the player will spawn -4. It looks like that's the spot we want it to spawn at. So this player spawn position. We're gonna make this a scene variable. I suppose we can add it to a game controller, make it a game controller variable as well. Feels quite a bit easier to just put it on the scene. Player spawn point. And this is just gonna be a transform like that, so we can pull off the position there. And so we'll put the player spawn point on it. Okay. And so we want to set position, be transform.set position, and it's going to be our player, and then we're just going to set it to the spawn point, and then we want to set the player's damage to 0. All right, so it's going to be set variable. And I'm wondering, again, it's going to be the player. Be great if we could find the variable that way, but I guess we can't, so it's damage. Is there a set variable scalar? Set variable. Infinite streams are a great way to do it, right? An infinite stream is a great way to do it. And I've done that before. You have to be a little bit careful with infinite streams, especially with the new collection initialization operator. Yeah, so there isn't one here, so I need to create a integer literal 0. Alright, so we're going to make our player have these flow across the top. I'm just going to player damage get set to 0. I don't like the lack of type safety here. Okay. Like that. And I do like that I can do this. Jormunder! Hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you so much for the hat. Let's get another hat on this stack. There we go. Jormunder, I hope you're having a beautiful day. Welcome into the stream. We are out here promoting Captain's Learn You a Game Jam, making sure everyone out here in the game dev community knows about it, making sure people know that they can earn while they learn. They have a chance to win just by learning something new. Let's align these on their right edges. We'll align these on their right edges. And then this goes here. And in the spirit of learning new things, I am learning about visual scripting. Exclamation points to see your points. Yeah, I'm not an affiliate, so you don't see channel points. So you can't see the channel points because I decided not to become an affiliate for a variety of reasons, but one of the downsides of that is I don't get channel points. Not bad. Not bad. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. All right, so spawn player here. Yeah, we'll spawn player like that. And I'm gonna make this, I feel like this one, suppose on start, we can call this as well. I'm going to convert this though into a spawn player. And I'm gonna make it so that way on start, we're gonna go ahead and spawn the player as well. We also should, there's going to be, like, we want to clear out everything on the scene as well. Yeah, you could recursively do a subs graph in here. The answer is yes. Yeah. That guy Doru. Infinite. We could just keep going in, right? Infinite loop. That's an interesting thing. I didn't think about that, but yes, the answer is yes. We can keep putting it inside. So there's some interesting things here about graph is like static. Slowly making our way to F sharp. Yeah, I don't. Interestingly enough, we wouldn't get a Stack Overflow. I don't think we get a Stack Overflow. Though I could be wrong. I'm assuming we won't. I don't think we'd get a Stack Overflow. We could try. We could get Unity to crash though for sure. So something that's really cool here, maybe not cool, but graph variables are static variables. Object variables are instance variables. Scene variables are like this interesting kind of halfway between. But one thing that's kind of cool is being able to save your values into your app and save. So this is something that's really cool. I like, so being able to have save state in like built in here is kind of nice. All right, so when our program starts up, we will spawn our player, game controller. This is our on game start. So on game start. Now on my fire to start, getting ready to finish up some school stuff, then I'll work on some assets for my projects. Awesome. I'm gonna come in here, fire to start here. I'm curious. So I want to make this on button. I'm wondering if, because it's sort of, I want to get the Unity button. So I think I need to do this in an on update. Because I want to do input.get button down. Yeah, I can't quite do it this way. And I want this to be fire. It's whatever you've configured fire to be. Okay, so this will work fine. In this case, can you make Unity classes be records? You can't do it with mono behaviors. You can kind of do it. You can kind of make records. The challenge with records is, ow, my hats, I had an itch. Oh, my hat's falling off. One of the challenges with records is they're read-only, so there's no setter, and so you can't put them in the inspector. So it makes it a little bit challenging to use in Unity's editor, but you can do records if you enable them. So you can enable them. But yeah, Unity's inspector uses not quite reflection, but it uses serialization. It uses something kind of like reflection and calls your getters and setters to set these values. And if you have a record, it won't show up in your inspector because it doesn't have a setter. So you can't actually set that value. So you end up having to do like these weird layers to get them to show up in your inspector for serialization. I'm really curious what they're going to do when they transition to .NET 8, which they're in the process of doing. I don't know how much longer it's going to take them to do that, but I know that they're in the process of doing that. Reflection, avoid it if you can. Avoid reflection if you can is essentially essentially what you should do. Hang on real quick. Give me a second, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay. So where was I? I was in the process of making this fire button. Yeah. spawn the game. So I need to get my game controller, right? So my game controller here. We're gonna add into my scene game controller. And it's gonna be a game object. And bring my game controller in. Pull it in like that. And we are going to invoke. We do a couple, just a couple gigs. Just a couple gigs of RAM. Custom trigger custom event. This guy is flying. What did we call it? This is where I wish the type safety in this is the saddest thing. On games, hang on, I put this in. On game start. Yeah, on game start here. I think for big projects, this would be very painful. I'm even finding it, I don't know if painful is quite the right word, but on game start here. So we are essentially kind of writing these methods here saying game start. So when we click the fire button, we're going to call game start and disable. Technically, this will disable us. Let's see what happens here. Cannot convert Unity transform to vector 3. This is true. So in my game controller, spawn player, I don't want to set. I need it, and this needs to be turned into a vector 3. Transform dot expose transform. There it is. So we can do it this way. It's a lot. All right, so we have a transform here. And we care about position. Like that. That's one way to do it. I could also call transform.get position. Oh, okay. I thought I was gonna have to put this in a in the flow there to do that. All right, let's get rid of you. There we go. All right, let's try it now. All right, sets our player into the start position. Let's fly around. Boop, ba-doop, boop, boop, ba-doop, boop. Oh man. I click fire, don't restart here. Fire button is not, button fire is not set up. Oh, it's fire 1. It's fire 1. Let's go to our, I think I should be able to modify this at runtime. Fire 1. Can it convert Unity games object to system boolean? Hang on. Invalid convert cannot get Unity engine.game object. Game controller. Ocular Malice, welcome to the stream. I'm learning about blueprints. Not blueprints. I'm learning about Unity's visual scripting tooling. I'm having some fun with it, but we have Captain Coders Learn You a Game Jam coming up this month, and it's all about learning something new. And I decided I should learn a little bit more about visual scripting. I'm planning to look into more Unreal stuff. In fact, I haven't done any Unreal stuff in the past. I'm planning to look into some Unreal. Fire is not set up. Oh, I swear I changed that. I guess you can't change that in play mode. I thought I could. I'm a little annoyed. All right, let's try one more time. I guess I could set my player to be dead in one hit. Cool, yeah, check it out. We got $700, $750 in prizes. Prizes are not awarded based on the quality of your game, but the quality of your learning. So you're gonna share what you learned with the community, what resources you used, and we'll have a couple judges. We're gonna have me and 2 guest judges. We'll let people know. What is it saying? System cannot convert to Boolean. Yeah, you can't flip assets in this one, right? Oh, that's what you learn how to flip assets? Gotcha. Genius. Cannot convert union game out to system.boolean. Let's go look at our game controller. This is interesting. Is any of this triggering? Maybe I'm not calling it on game start. Ocular, do you do most of your stuff in Unreal? Ah, there it is. Figuring out where these are coming from is a little tricky. 50-50? Gotcha. Which one do you like more? I'd be curious. I know a lot of people really like Unity, a lot of people really like Unreal, and there's a lot of heated debate. Nice. I'm looking forward to what you make this year, Lance. You have any ideas? I just put this in the wrong spot. I'm quite surprised. That I wasn't getting an error on start. That is surprising. On start. All right, let's get destroyed. Gotcha. Stuff that looks good. Unreal does have that very fresh look to it. The object type of has been destroyed and is not accessible. What is it talking about? I don't think did I destroy my player? Oh. I swear I was just setting the player to be not active. Apparently I destroy it in my collision. No, I just set it to not active. Jormunder, I think I am going to learn Blender for the Game Jam. I think that's what I'm planning to do. But I'm going to try and learn something new every day this month. I may not learn something new every day this month, but so far I feel like I've been successful in the things I've learned. Yeah, something is destroying my player object. All right, so my player object's getting destroyed here. And it's like on the respawn or something. So when I get destroyed, oh, it is. I swear I was setting it to just deactivating it. Where is that happening? Is it... I'm wondering if when the player gets deactivated, it's triggering the on... Oh, that's player bounds. Player... when it gets deactivated... I have a script here. I know what's happening. I have a script here called game bounds. And it says, when an object exits, destroy that object. And this is just making it so that way all of the meteors and lasers, whenever they leave this bound, they don't stay alive in my scene. The problem is when my player is set to not active, their collision box is leaving that, triggering that. So I need to make it not do it for my player. Let's go ahead and tag this as the player. So the easiest thing to do is just say, hey, if you're the player, don't destroy the player. So let's go into that script. And we're just gonna add an if tag get tag be game object dot get tag. And we're gonna do a equal. And then we need a string. Things like this feel a little bit annoying, player. All right. So we got to do an if. Let's attach you here. And here. And quite annoying to have to do this. Sometimes these just look so bad. All right, flow everything out that way. Okay. So if we're not, this would need to be a not. So if we are not the player, then we destroy it. So let's test that. Deactivate my player. And it's not destroyed. Okay. Let's go get wrecked. Boom. Oh, I need to do an if. All right. Because that's just getting the button and then moving on. Okay. So now in my fire here, I want to say if. And if. I wish there was an optimize button that said, just make this look better. Okay. If we're pressing the fire button, go ahead and restart. Okay. Boom. Oh, it didn't reset our damage. I think it did, but it didn't reset that text there. So, Yeah. So this kind of tells me that on my player, I want to... There's a couple things I could do. I could... Let's go look at my player real quick. I could call on damage change and set it to 0 for my player object. I could also make an event called set damage. It's an interesting idea. Blavius, welcome back to the stream. How you doing, friend? Happy Tuesday. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Yeah. So I could do this. And then bring this into my game controller. No, it's not my game controller. It is my spawn player. That's exactly what I'm trying to do right now. So I have this on game start. Okay. And spawn player, it is setting my damage, but it's not saying, hey, damage has changed. So I need to move all this, do this. It's Wednesday. Well, happy Wednesday. That's right. Okay. And this needs to be our player object. That was weird. Ref. Spawn. Okay. I pressed Control Z and it like it did a Control Z, but then brought me somewhere strange. Okay. I'm doing absolutely wonderful. We're just learning about visual scripting some more. JD! How you, Bryn, friend? Folks, you guys know the incredible, the unstoppable, the fabulous.
If you want to feel like you're talking with Captain, let me see if I could do my Captain impression. I am not the Captain, but my eyebrows also move in a way like the Captain.
Go check out JD Does Dev. Like 10 past your bedtime it is. But JD, we're promoting Captain Coders Learn You a Game Jam. That's right. We got to make sure everyone out there knows we're promoting Captain Coders Learn You a Game Jam, where you can win up to $250. There's over $700 in prizes. 5 people will win $50 just for submitting something. 5 random people will draw for $50 winning. 2 people will win grand prizes for submitting the most educational devlog blogger vlog. Not enough hats. That's right. We don't have enough hats. We are, I think, damage was changed. Let's try this. Variable not found damage. And it's because this is the variable from player here. Really, it should be just a constant integer 0. But yeah, I'm learning about visual scripting. Okay, let's try it. Let's do it to it, Lars. Blammo. 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 Why aren't you blinking? Fire to start. Okay, our This is why I need the on take damage to do several things. All right. Okay. So I'm realizing a variety of different things. That one little thing works. We need to... As your program gets more complex, the complexity gets more complex. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm getting tired too, but I'm so close. I'm so close. Let's go to our blinking script. I swear I have turned this off. I've unchecked that multiple times. I swear I've set that off so many times now. Come on, why won't you blink text? The blink in text. Okay. Fire to start. You'll notice the thing that I'm complaining about is we still have this damage sprite on us. This is because that is not reacting to the damage change event. This is before I knew how to event, so what I did. So in my player collision controller, I call take damage, and then I decide somewhere. Oh, I do it in take damage. Take damage sets all of these sprites. Oh, I've written myself into a mess. Written myself into a mess. Set sprite. Yeah, because I didn't know how to do events, and now now there are so many regrets. All right, the easiest thing to do. All right, here's the less than optimum, the less than optimal, the not so what I want to do way to do this is I go into my player. In my game controller, let's go into my start game script. And oh, I don't have that here. That's annoying. Let's go look at my player object. Yeah, sprite render. My player's sprite render. I hate this. My player's sprite renderer. I want to set its sprite to be none. All right, so we're gonna go sprite render. I hate this. I hate this. Getting tired. I want to finish this. Game controller. On game start, spawn player. Okay. It's not what I want. I want to do... Oh, I'm not frustrated. I don't want to rewrite all of that script. What I want to do is I need to get variable from my player object. All right, so we're going to get a variable. The variable is sprite renderer from my player. And then we need to set the sprite renderer. Don't need a group. We need to do this. No, I'm legitimately just tired. I am ready to sleep. I can feel the fatigue. So it's sprite renderer dot set sprite to none. This needs to be here. Okay. Value cannot be null. That's interesting. Sprite. Literal. It absolutely can be none. The warning is interesting here. Let's see if it yells at me. Yeah, well, I just want to finish. We're so close to finishing the respawn here. Fire to start. Boom. There we go. Cleared it out, I think. Let me die real quick just to make sure. I love that particle effect. Yes. Okay, it's working. It's working. The last thing I need to do is clear out all of my meteors. So we're going to clear out all of the meteors. That should be a relatively easy one. Thought. Okay. So if I take my game bounds and disable it, yeah. When I disable my game bounds, this is what's going to be so simple about this one. When I disable game bounds, it destroys everything. It destroys everything, which is cool. Enjoy your lurk, Lance. Have a beautiful day. I'll be back tomorrow. And that's just because my game bounds are used to destroy everything. So what I'll do is when we start out, we disable game bounds, and then we turn it back on. And that should clear out everything. So, and then I'm done. And then I'm done. And then we're going to raid out. So if anyone knows someone to raid into, feel free to make suggestions now. So we'll be raiding out here in a moment. Game bounds. It's on my game controller. This is my on game start. Yeah, on game start. Finsifity Cat, thank you so much for the follow. Finsifity Cat, I'd like to welcome you to the crew now. Finsifity Cat, thank you for following me. All right, so what I need to do is I need to add in. All right, so we're gonna disable. So I need a scene object here. This is gonna be our game bounds. This is a game object. And take my game bounds, connect it in here. And we need to disable it. We need to wait a frame and then enable it. Because I think if we disable it and enable it in the same frame, it won't work. We can try it though. Game object.set active. So we're gonna disable our game objects. Happy to have you here on this beautiful day, Finsipity. We're here promoting Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam, which is coming up on June 19th. Game Jam. I'll help you consider joining it. Lots and lots of great stuff come out of it. Last year was such a blast doing it. Yeah, so Captain Coder's Learning Your Game Jam. It's not about making the best game. It's about learning the most. It's about learning the most. So challenge you to learn something new. And then we need to re-enable it. So I'm pretty sure if I do this, it won't work. But we're gonna give it a shot here. Finsifity, thank you so much for the raid. Finsifity, Finsifity, thank you for raiding me today. Finsifity, Finsifity, welcome to the crew. Thank you so much for the raid, folks. Be sure to give Finsifity a follow. Absolute legend here at the Academy. Finsifity, what were you working on? Tell us all about it. I'm about to wrap up here myself. Permit Finsifity, like that. If you got any links, feel free to share them. I was sure I was falling from Booyah Grammar Raid the other day. No worries, no worries. So glad to have you here. I'm pretty sure this won't work. Well, let's try it here. I'm pretty sure when I disable and then deactivate and activate in the same frame, it doesn't actually register as being deactivated. But we're about to find out. It does. Okay, I don't have to wait a frame. That clears out all the meteors on the screen. Nice. Nice. Not bad. Very cool. Okay. So I think we have that. But yeah, what were you working on? I'm assuming you're a game dev. Tell us all about it. Booyah, Grandma. You're here. Oh, here's our website, but we're working on a trailer for our horror game right now. So then we'll be like, hey, we are showing and telling more. Robots make games. Very cool. Let's check that out real quick. But yeah, I'm streaming off schedule a bunch this month to try and promote Captain Coder's Learning Your Game. Robots make games, because that's what we do. Thanks for sharing this with us. Robots Make Games is a two-person startup independent game developer based in Wellington, New Zealand. Chris is a technical artist, 3D modeler, and programmer responsible for just about all aspects of development. Karen is a lawyer who spends her time looking after the business side of things and doing the essential job of 10 people to keep Chris's head in the clouds. Nice. Nice. Thanks, Karen. Very awesome. I can't wait to see what you're making. Robot Makes Games, we're focused on this. Very cool. You love the narration? Awesome. I'm gonna have to check your stream out. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. I'm in the process of, I really thought I was gonna finish this tonight. But I'm so new to visual scripting that I just haven't quite figured out the best way to do things, or the most efficient way to do them. We have a 3,000 square meter Cold War bunker to trap people in. Nice. Nice. Sounds dangerous. But yeah, we're making this space shmup prototype using visual scripting. And I'm having a blast doing it. It's been super fun. Super fun here. Yeah, some really good stuff going on. So we just finished adding in the game over screen. So I'll show you that. That's what we added. We added in the bar tonight. I added in the star field, and I added in the game over screen. So let's get to the game over screen here. Boom, game over. We're learning how to how to create. I guess write is the right word. Make visual scripts with Fire to start. So it respawns everything. That's what we just finished doing. So pretty nice stuff. Started templating a voxel-based shmup a few months ago in Unreal. Things happen. I wasn't feeling horror at the time. That's fair. This was, so when I first started loading Unity, the first game I made was a shmup. So back in January of 2023, was one of the first things I made on stream, was learning how to do this in Unity with scripting, and I just didn't know Unity at all. And I learned sort of a lot about, it's kind of crazy. I know so much more about Unity now that this is so much better. The amount of effort I've put in is next to none. It's just been about learning how to translate my thoughts into visual scripting, and I want to turn this into a nice little tutorial. But there we go. We have a little game over here. It's way too easy. It's way too easy. So we got to add in some enemies. I want to add in some enemies. I want to add in a title screen and maybe a score, something along those lines. But I'm having a lot of fun with this. But I got to wrap up for now. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out. Don't forget to check out Captain Coder's Learn You a Game Jam. Awesome stuff going on over there. If you want to know when I'll be live next, join the Discord. I'm going to be streaming off schedule a whole bunch this month. The hardest part about visual scripting is not being able to write your own nodes. You can write your own nodes. It's super easy to write your own nodes. It's not hard at all to write your own nodes. The easiest way is to, you just write a C# script and then you have a node for it. That's really what you do. If you have a mono behavior, you have a node. Oh, you can't do that in Unreal Engine? Gotcha. This is super cool. If you just write a script, any C# script can become a node. With reflection. Yeah, let me try. You know what? I haven't done it yet. Let's try it. I want to try. I haven't written any scripts on this project. I do have to raid out of here. I should probably not do this. But we're going to. We're going to. Let's see what happens. Create C# script. Well, that was useless. Why can't I create a C# script here? Test script. Okay. It's interesting that it opened up in the graph. That is interesting. But this is more like Houdini, where I can just write an attribute wrangle. So yeah, I want to. All right. Here is my script. I'm gonna write a script here. I was just gonna make a function. Let's see if I can write a function here. It's interesting that it switched to this script view. Test script. I'm curious if I can do public static int value 7. I'm curious if I can do this. So I have this. I need to add it into the visual scripting. I say, hey, there's a script now that I want to be able to access in visual scripting. Visual scripting. Let's go to our. I don't think it'll show up here like this. Test script dot value. Yeah, it doesn't show up yet. Let me go into. I did do this once before. I didn't do it this way. Visual scripting. Type options. Test script. Regenerate nodes. So I've added test script as a node. I should have done a commit. Everything's gonna be. I should not have made this change right here. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh. Let's see what happens. Okay. Now, test script dot value. Boom. Test script dot value. We did it. We did it. We added a node. Easy. It's super easy to add custom nodes. So if you want to write some code to do it, you can. Super easy. All right, I'm gonna undo what I did here. I'm trying to. I'm challenging myself to write 0 C# on this project. I'm challenging myself to write no code at all, to force myself to learn how to do it from a visual scripting standpoint. And my goal is to learn it, but I think the visual scripting is going to be a good bridge for my students who are intimidated by coding. So I teach 2 Unity, and hopefully someday I'll be able to switch to Godot. I teach 2 Unity classes right now. that are, one of them is a no code. I teach several Unity classes. I teach 2 intro Unity classes, one called 3D level design, which has no coding. You build 3D models, you use existing scripts and learn how to use the inspector to set values to create levels in my 3D Marble game. Students love that class. I do a 2D one as well. I haven't added in any scripting into that one out of fear of just like how challenging it is. My 2D class, I teach, there's 2 projects where there's no coding, and in the last project we introduced some very small C# scripts, and I like 20% of the students really struggle with it, and that's like usually the students who have done no coding at all in the past. And so my goal here is, can I write a course where we start writing scripts pretty early on using visual scripting, so that you understand what the components of it are, what the events are, talk about this, and then we work on translating those into C# scripts later. Need a new class with a parent for that class, and override the necessary methods for it, then implement the C++, and expose that to a blueprint, recompile the project, then cast to the new class in a blueprint, then access the method. Simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. What's so hard about that? That's easy. That's what, only 5 steps? Not so hard. It's not so hard. Okay. All right, I gotta wrap up here. Let's find someone to raid out to. Who do we got? We got Science. I've never been able to raid Science stream. We're gonna raid Science streams, folks. I have never raided Science streams, so I think I want to go raid Science streams. I've never streamed it this time, so I've never had the opportunity. Fins, Siffity, Cat, thank you so much for. Oh, maybe we'll do Motsy Makes. You know what? I'm trying to promote Learn You a Game Jam, so that's what we're gonna do. They probably do game dev. Yeah. So it'll be an opportunity to promote my game jam a little bit. So let's go Motsy Makes. Thank you for the suggestion, Mendoza. There we go. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Remember to keep coding, keep growing, keep being the best you can be. We'll be back tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled, keep your ears on. Join the Discord, join the game jam. Have a beautiful day. Finsipity, I can't wait to catch your stream. Thank you guys so much for being here. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Jormunder, I swear, I keep turning on dark mode. I don't know what's going on with it. I did it live on stream a few days ago, and now it keeps switching back. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.